kind of political. We're talking about
Work shit.
well, yeah, but it's also somewhat political. Like we're talking
Yeah.
wages and
And
I don't
how
know.
employees are treated. Well, that's the thing. And that's what I was going to say. And I said, well, fuck it. Let's just go live.
Yeah,
Um, you know,
people need to hear this. You are worth more. Demand your worth. Damn it.
yeah, it's true. And the bad thing is some of the good companies that are lower, mom and pop owned or whatever, where you get treated good, like where I'm at, they just can't afford to pay me a lot of money.
Right.
They don't make a whole bunch, like Heather said something about, boy, if I could make, because some specialist makes like $10,000 a month. She's like, psh, I don't even make half that.
Wow.
And she's like, I mean, like, taking care of people and like helping save lives. And I'm like, you don't,
Right.
fuck, dude. No wonder you don't want to pay us more. Like, they deserve to, like, they went through school, they have debt they have to pay off, they
Right.
deserve to be comfortable. They fucking worked hard for that shit, and I can
Yeah.
respect that. But
Right.
that's the thing. And then the bigger companies, they fucking treat people like shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, okay, get good employees. Well, you treat people like shit. You can pay people good, but if you treat them like crap, they're gonna fucking leave.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
I mean, it sucks if you're. I mean, like if you're talking about like Walmart, where they clearly pay their employees more, and they just won't. Like that. That's bullshit.
Yeah,
But
they can. Absolutely.
then, like, I don't know. Like for us, like we're a bunch of like healthcare sites, and I was really mad that what do you call it? That we weren't getting pandemic pay because you're really putting people out there, like you're risking their lives and you're not giving them more money. I thought that was bullshit. I'm like, even if it's not me, I'm administration.
Right.
Could you at least pay people who are putting their lives on the line for you? Like that would be awesome. And they went for a while giving some sites pandemic pay, but not others.
Right.
And then at the end of the year, they gave the CEO, I think, a $5 million bonus, retention bonus.
That could have given everybody raises for the entire fucking year.
I'm not
and some left over
with the patients, but I have to deal directly with the staff who deal directly with the patients. My life is on the fucking line. I have to be in the hallways. Like if somebody's COVID positive, like any of us could have it. So it's
the bottom line is if you're in a building that has a central air unit, which most of those places do, you're breathing everybody else's air.
Right. And that's what other people have said that to me too. Initially, they were like, you're not, like, how are you not at risk? Like, does the place not have ventilation? Like, do you just open a window? Like you're at risk.
Well, a lot of those places don't have open windows because they don't want people to fucking jump out of them and leave.
Right, but also
because old demented people they'll go if you give them an opportunity.
No, but that's why our windows don't open, because we have a lot of people with dementia, either early onset or just full blown. Like we have a whole locked unit of people with just full blown dementia, and so like we have to have ventilation to keep people alive, right? So yeah, I mean, it was something like this. It really is putting everybody's life at risk. Meanwhile, the CEO is in his cushy home mansion in Florida, barking orders from his glass tower on the hill, and I'm like, what the fuck is the retention bonus for? I don't understand. And it really pisses me off when people are like,
why would he leave? He's making like what, a couple like 10 million a year or something, and he's sitting on his ass and pointing fingers at other people when things go wrong and pointing fingers in direction, do this, go do that. Retention bonus? That's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly.
See, shit like that makes me sick.
I didn't understand it either.
When I worked at CVS and I was doing the COVID testing for Netflix, so when they started it, they were like, okay, we're going to give you guys a, high risk bonus. And we were like, sweet, man. They give us like $50.
Okay, sure.
The next month, they didn't give a shit. Then I went off to do the testing and they said, okay, we're going to we're going to pay you guys time and a half, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So instead of making as a fucking assistant manager of a fucking big, nice store in Santa Fe, where the minimum wage is $12.20 an hour, minimum wage.
Okay.
I was making $14.85.
Oh.
So I thought, well, good. This will put me up to like $22 an hour. That's what I fucking deserve. Because nice, I was busting my ass. I was doing literally all the heavy lifting. I was doing all the bulk. I was yanking around like huge pallets full of water and, you know, breathing through a mask and just sweating my ass off every day, just busting my ass. So I thought, fine, I'm going to go out here. I'm going to do this easier job. It was easier, but we were also at risk because we were testing people, like 200 people a day, right? 200 people a day that were on the movie set, grips and blah, 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 blah. Anybody was around the actors and wasn't a solo position where they could be away from everybody by themselves. So pretty much everybody needed tested. Right. So the actors and actresses got tested 3 times a week. The grips and stuff got tested twice a week. And then all the people that worked in between the two got tested 3 times a week with the actors and actresses. So we were doing, our average was, well, I mean, it varied, but anywhere from, we started out with like 112 people. We were like, wow, that's a lot. And we ended up with like over 200. So let's average it out at 180 people a day. Okay.
Okay.
CVS was making $250 a test. $250 a test. And they wouldn't give us even $1 more an hour.
God.
They said, oh, you know what? My bad. We're wrong. We're not giving you that raise.
What?
Yep. After we were there for 2 weeks.
What?
And we stayed there because it was still easier work. We'd rather risk our freaking getting COVID than be inside the fucking stores where people are treating us like shit.
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck it. I'll stay out here and do it. I don't have it. I was driving like an extra 20 minutes one way. Yeah. And they gave us like
it's better to
35 cents a mile from our store to wherever it was.
Right.
And some of the time we were there, we were like right down the road from our store. So we didn't get a fucking dime. Because hi, what's her name?
Speckle.
Can you hear me?
Speckle.
Am I not working? Oh, no.
No, you're fine. You're there. You were muted at first.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We're talking about big corporations and shit that have money but don't want to pay people, and then they wonder why they have bad employees. That's what we're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
So, but yeah, so
like holding off paying people or not paying them enough?
Not paying enough because I was just
about how little my former company paid us. Like we were just bought out, so they just took everybody as is. They did give like the lowest paid workers, they bumped them up to everybody who's below 15, they brought up to 15.
Wow, that would be great.
And then I don't know. They just bought 12 sites, so everybody else is underpaid too. I'm hoping like within a year they bump us up to market rate. But I was just like kind of complaining. Like I work in a fucking retirement home. We didn't get pandemic pay. And I was like, that's really shitty, especially since the CEO got a $5 million retention bonus for, reasons. And then B was like, oh, holy shit. Do I have a story for you? And then she started telling me about her shitty former employee. Oh, God! I'm an asshole. Please forgive me.
No, it's okay. No, I'm not offended. I misgender myself sometimes. It's fine.
We're eventually going to stop fucking this up. I promise, B.
No, it's fine, man. It's fine. But you know what? Bottom line is if I don't say anything and remind people, they're never going to retain it. But if you say something, like the girls I work with, they do it. And I said something to them like 4 times in 2 or 3 days, and they're like on it now. They're like, and they pause for a second. They're like, he? And I'm like, thank you. No, but they're all really
like, you do it haphazardly. Like you're just so used
it's just a habit. Our society is so focused on fucking gender that we're all worried about gender all the fucking time. Like everybody, you can't say anything about anybody without he or she coming out of your mouth. Huh?
It's always been B and she. So like,
I know.
I needed.
I told you I was going to make my pronouns be and them.
Oh, don't do that.
No, I'm not doing that.
Mine are thee and thou.
Thee and thou.
Thee and thou. I like it.
It's on my Twitter.
I fucking like it, man.
I love it.
So I went on TikTok. Speaking of genders, since we're on that subject, here's a fun subject. So I went on TikTok yesterday, right before I started streaming, over on before I hopped on to Neil's, and I went on to TikTok and I made a video like outing myself and telling people what I was doing and this is my journey and you know I've always felt like this and if you have questions, I said if you hate me that's fine, just be respectful and ask and I'll answer any question. Just don't, you know, as long as you're respectful, you know, I feel like we can have good conversations. Well, you guys know me. I'm just upfront and honest and I'll just tell you the fucking truth. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I was like, just be honest and ask me questions and I'll answer anything. And I tell everybody that. I had this patient called in today, right? And she's had a lot of medical problems in the past. So she'll have like 1 month, she'll be in and out of the practice a lot. And then the next month she just calls a few times and maybe she's there once, you know, or something. So she comes in and out a lot and she's a little needy sometimes, but she's a good lady and her name's Annie. And Andy called today and asked me, you know, hey, did you hear about this or whatever? And I was like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And she goes, hey, can I ask you a question? I said, sure. She goes, it's kind of personal. And I said, you can ask me anything. I don't care. And she said, okay, so you changed your name. So you're going to be a man now? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, okay, cool. Good for you. Good for you. And she said, what'd she say? She said something else. And then she said, she was telling me that her friend decided to be a woman and then started dating another woman who decided to be a man. So they just switched roles, like gender wise and just all the, and I said, are they happy? And she said, oh yeah, they're great. They're one of the happiest couples I know because they're just being themselves. I said, isn't that amazing when you could do that? Right. So then she said, so I got to ask back. And I said, what? And she said, are you going to get a penis? And I said, well, you don't
have to ask.
I said, well, you know, Annie, no, but it's fine because, you know, there's a lot of cishet people that just don't understand it. Yeah, and I would rather them ask me those questions because I'm not going to get offended by it than to hurt or offend someone else asking them. And then once I can teach them, then if someone else asks, they can go, oh, I talked to a trans person. They said this. And then the other person's going to go, oh, and then somebody's going to ask, say, you see what I'm saying? Yeah, like I'm trying to cause an avalanche effect here. And the only way to do it, the only way to broaden awareness and stop hatred is to inform people. The problem is that most people, they're so negative about it and the other person gets hurt that they go, wall, I'm not answering that. I don't fucking care. I am secure with myself. I know I'm good looking and sexy, and I know I'm going to be sexy with a fucking beard. I don't give a fuck. I am so comfortable with myself. Like, okay, this is how comfortable. Real quick, I'll tell you what I did the other day, and then I'll go back to the penis thing and what I told her. So the other day, last week, I went in and did my first doctor's appointment at my practice where I work. I got my insurance and everything, and made a doctor's appointment. Had to wait for like a month for it. I think it was like 3 weeks, and got in with the doctor I wanted and everything. And she specializes in hormone therapy. Just so happens. I just so happened to get a job where 2 of the docs do hormone therapy. So I did my thing with her and everything. And it was supposed to be 1 hour meet the doc appointment, right? Because you're supposed to meet the doc and talk to them. And then you do like annual exams, follow-ups after that. And insurance wants you to do that and give them so much time. And at our practice, we'd give them an hour. And because people have shit, you know. So I got through talking to her about everything so quick. She looked at the clock and looked at me and I looked at the clock and she was like, hop up on the table. And I was like, okay. And I thought maybe because I told her because I have dense breasts, they're very fibrous, cystic, and they have been since I was like, I don't know, 22 or something. So you just like, that's what, they have water cysts in them. So they stand up great at 50. I was going to say, I know women that would kill for my boobs.
Like
it's true.
I got tight little perky ones. Like, oh, fuck yeah.
I do. And I'm like, who wants them? I don't. So anyways, so I told her that, you know, I had a history of having a biopsy and I have cystic breasts. And she's like, all right, let's just do an exam and check it out and everything. So we talked about all that. And so she was like, yeah, get up on the table. And I thought she was going to check my boobs, you know. So she's like, I said, are you going to do a whole annual exam on me? And she said, yeah, we have time. Let's just do it all at once and you don't have to wait for another appointment. I said, I fucking love you. So she gives me the stuff. She just goes out of the room. I put everything on. I stick my head out the door and I go, because I work there, right? So I'm like, caw, caw. She comes back in, she starts examining me, breast exam, blah, 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 does pelvic, blah, 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 does everything, right? A whole woman exam. And then she gets done and she's like, all right, hold on just a minute. And I'll go out so you can get dressed. And I said, Deb, you just saw me naked. I don't care. And I just took my robe off and threw it on the bed, on the exam table. And she looked at it and she was like, okay, I'll just do this. She literally said that. And then she went, like, kept her back to me and went over to her desk and sat down at an angle. Guess I embarrassed the shit out of her. And I was like, what, you've seen everything except for my back and my butt. And you've seen half my butt too. I was like, what? There's nothing else missing. You've seen everything. What the fuck's the point? So yeah, I just like stood up and threw my gown over there and put my clothes back on and went over and sat down. And she was like, okay, now that you're done with that and embarrassing me. It's basically the look on her face. She was like, oh my God, I can't believe you just fucking did that.
You're like way braver than I am. I'm like,
when I go to sleep, I swear to God, when I go to sleep with somebody, when I go to sleep with somebody for the first time, like we'll do the make out and blah, blah, blah. And you start taking each other's clothes off. And then they're like, I got it, you know, because we're older and we don't, ain't nobody fumbling with a fucking bra at 50. Fuck that shit. Get your own bra off. We'll all be fine. It's still sexy. So while they're like fumbling with a shirt, they turn around and I'm like butt ass naked. And what I usually do, oh yeah. And they're like, well, you're not shy. And I'm like, nope, it is what it is. You're going to see it anyways. I'm chubby here. My arms look good. You're going to see all of it. So what the fuck is the point of hiding?
But
so
without making you uncomfortable, that's attractive. Being confident is super attractive. That's good.
I know, that's what they tell me. And I'm like, good. Because that's why when someone 2 months ago told me I was insecure and I needed to work on myself, I was literally like, dude, you do not know me. I thought we were friends. Have you even like talked have you ever paid attention to me?
Seriously.
Like really?
Like, even looked in your direction.
Yeah, right, exactly. I mean, when have I ever came off as like people tell me that know me in person and meet me and then they get to be friends with me. They're like, you're intimidating. I'm like, why? Did I say something? Because I feel bad. You know, I'm like, did I say something? Did I offend you? And they're like, no, because you just like walk right up and say what you want. You look person in the eye and I'm like, that's how my mom raised me. You look a person in the eye when you're talking to them.
Confidence.
And they're like, that's intimidating. I'm like, what are you talking about? I just don't. I can't get it through my head because I'm such a big mushball and a sweetheart. If somebody starts crying, I'll like cry with them. Like that's who I am. So when people tell me like, I don't know. I just can't. I don't see myself as a hard ass. I just don't.
I always get like weirded out by. Like,
this isn't a wife beater. This is my B shirt, Ox.
I like that shirt. That's a good shirt.
Yeah, I found this logo, these logos online. I bought 2 shirts and then I just incorporated it into my stuff. And I figured, well, I bought the shirts. I can use it now. I wear it. So I use it on all my shit. But
wait, so you changed your IRL name? Is that what you were saying?
I'm going to.
Okay.
I'm going to. Yeah, it's not official yet, but
are you still
I've been B. I'm actually B in real life too, all the time. I have been for a long time. I just got fed up with my old name. B used to be a nickname of mine. When I was in my 30s and I was doing painting, I'd hire these younger kids and they were like, okay, Ox, don't try to flirt with me, sucker. I'd bend you over. Anyways, I love Ox. Anyways, so they would come to me and they'd be like, hey, you know, well, my old name was Beth. Okay, so they'd be like, I'm Beth. This happened. And I'd be like, all right, I got you, man. Let's go. We'll go take care of it, you know. Or they'd come over and be like, oh man, my mom's drunk and she's being a real bitch, man. Can I crash on your couch? Fuck yeah, man. Of course you can. As long as she knows you're safe. No, I have my phone and she knows I left. Okay, fine. You know, as long as she knows that you're here, you're 17 or 18 years old. You know, I just want to make sure. So these come over all the time and they started calling me Aunt B. And then they started calling me Dr. B because they'd come over like they'd half cut their finger off. Oh, the insurance. My mom's drunk. And I'd go, come here, man. And I'd like butterfly bandage it and wrap it up. Yeah. Well, I didn't have super glue back then. This is like 2004. This is like in 2004. But that's what started it. So they called me like Aunt B or Dr. B. And it was just like a thing. And then I get onto YouTube and I make my name Be Mindful and everybody starts calling me B. And I'm like, oh, fuck it. I'm just going with B. So I've been going by that for almost 2 years now.
Well, B, pleased to meet you. I often am called D. So there you go.
Oh,
D is
see, there you go. There you go. Well, I actually decided on Beck. Beck, like the guy music. Yes, I know everybody. I didn't know that when I picked the name. I forgot all about him.
Wait, about who?
The band, the guy.
Turntables and a microphone.
Oh, there's a band named Beck.
It's a guy. Well, yeah. Guy. Does he have a band?
Okay.
I'm a loser, baby, so why don't you kill me? Oh,
it is a whole is the whole name of the band Beck or just him?
He is Beck. He is an artist, sort of like Moby's an artist. He is Beck.
Oh, okay. I get it.
So it's the band's name. Is it a band or like? Am I just? I have no idea. What
I think he has bandmates occasionally, but he does all the writing and stuff.
Beck is a singer. That was a singer. Died.
Is he a Scientologist? He's a
God damn it! Now I got to change my name. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, it's like you're named after David Beckham. Only you're sexier.
I had actually thought about going with Beckett for my first name, and then just having people call me Beck. But the problem here's the only reason I don't like it, right? The only thing that makes me mad is when I'm on the phone at work and people aren't paying attention. And even like I talk quieter at work because we have patients behind us and I don't want to say anybody's names loud. And people have told me that they find my voice like soothing, and when they're upset and they call, that I calm them down. So I try to talk kind of like this, like I am right now. So when people call and they're like, I didn't get my okay, hold on. What is your last name? Let me check into it. And they just go, whoo, and calm down. Don't know why, but it works. So even with me talking lower and talking like this into the phone, and I answer the phone.
See, I think it's
thank you for calling. This is Beck. How can I help you? They go, hey, Becca. And I'm like, Becca. I just can't get away from these female names. What the fuck is going on?
Thank you for calling Everything's on Fire helpline. My name is Deidre. I'm here to help. Oh, I'm so sorry that happened. Let me pull up your account right away and fix this.
Yeah, no.
As long as you have this, I have my Care Bear voice on, and I'm here to make everything right for you.
I was better off with just going by B, but you know what would that? No, actually, it was the same thing. Because you know what would happen? Because if someone starts getting too crazy, or I have to start talking louder, the louder I get, the higher my voice gets. Yeah. So then I got this doctor. Oh my God, she's so loud. She's so loud. She comes out and she's like, B. I'm on the phone, right? And I'm like, I point at the phone. She goes, oh. She stands there, looks at me. Marissa. Oh, Marissa's on the phone. Michelle. And she yells every time. Then she's like, I need you to call Christus and get these lab results from blah, 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 blah for blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, do you have to fucking yell? So there I am on the phone and I'm trying to yell over top of her. So the higher I yell, the more I yell, the higher my voice gets, right? Because I'm trying to still be professional and sound, I don't know. And I think it's a habit, like for me to try to sound, when I try to sound professional, I get kind of girly sounding, which is weird. I know, but that's what it does. So, and then I'm talking over top of her, and then still go back B, even with B, they're like, oh, do you spell that B-E-E or B-E-A? And I'm like, B-E? And they're like, like just B. Literally, just B. And they're like, oh, that's so cool. I love that name. But now I get Becca. So I just can't.
Becca.
I'm like, no, not B. Arthur.
I don't know. I mean, it might be the area you're into. Like, you know.
I'm in a Spanish area. Nobody's named Becca here. Nobody.
Okay.
Like, there's all kinds of like Christina's and Marie's and Maria's and Martha's and any like Catholic or Italian or Spanish sounding name. It's here.
Well,
like,
now that I know,
you got all the Jose's and all the.
It sounds. I mean, are they open to trans people?
It
sounds very Catholic type area. Are they open to trans people?
You know, this is what's weird. Now, I don't know about the big city south of me, an hour away. I have no idea. No. But here, this is what I say. Where I live, the rule is, well, I don't live in town. I live like 35 minutes outside of town. But anyways, the rule here is don't be a dick.
Yeah. It's a good rule.
That's great like literally. And I've said to people that have these women that come in and they've lived in Santa Fe their whole entire life. And I say to them, you know, they're like, oh, are you new here to the practice? I haven't been here in a few months. Yes, I am. Oh, and I'm new to Santa Fe. Oh, are you? Yeah, I just moved here, blah, 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 you know? And I would say, I kind of work it in the conversation just because I want people's opinions on it, right? And I've said this to a lot of people. I say, it seems like pretty much here, if you're just not a jerk, people like each other. And they're like, yeah, that's it. That's literally the rule here. They don't care if you're what color you are. There is a little prejudice running around because we have people that live here that used to live in like Texas. So unfortunately, there's a little bit of prejudice, but it's few and far between. And if someone acts prejudiced, the guy next to them will be like, dude, shut up. Like,
that's nice.
People make friends everywhere. I've gone into doctor's offices and sat there for 45 minutes waiting, and not one person in the waiting room spoke to me. But I go and go out to check on these people. Like, you guys doing okay? You need some water? Because we have to make them wait outside or in their cars because of COVID. And they always like, no, we're fine, and they're all sitting there like making friends. I'm like, oh, I didn't know you two knew each other. Oh, we don't. Oh, cool. So I just quit asking. And if I look out the window and they're talking and laughing, I just leave them alone. Because they're killing time. Yeah. Yeah. So, but that's how it is here. People just talk to each other. It's weird.
That's cool.
And I love it. So anyways, I don't know.
I'm a big city girl. Like
the name thing.
Like indoctrinated. Somebody talks to me, it's just like, why? What do you want? I said hi. Yeah.
I got lost in New York City. There's my buddy, my bro. Brah.
Did you kick Spackle?
I didn't mean to. I ran the mouse across her. And
I was so confused. That's like, what did I do?
Yeah, no, I'm not having 3 people in here at a time, and Ben's more important. No, I'm kidding.
But Ben is more important. I agree.
Well, Ben is he's my brother.
I literally just walked in the door and set up. So
Ben, bow ties are cool. That's all I'm gonna say.
Like I got compliments today on that.
Really?
On my bow tie, yeah.
Your bow, yeah. You look. How do you sport? Look, I was saying this the other day. I know all kinds of people that try to sport a bow tie and they look stupid, but for some fucking reason, it looks slick as shit on Ben. Like it is perfect for you.
Looking quite dapper over there.
Yeah, doesn't he? He's like, well, because he was wearing scrubs before, but now he has to wear a tie. So he's like, all right, well, is that one of the new ones you bought?
I'm allowed to wear scrubs if I'm inpatient, like if I'm doing the inpatient side, but they have so many students because this is a residency program. So they have residents, they have interns, and then they have med students. And with COVID, they have so many med students because for a while they couldn't put like med students in the hospital. So they had a backup of med students that needed rotations. So they have so many med students and they're like, okay, well, we're going to send some students like to clinic and then we'll rotate people around because we have the hospital and then we have, it's like, not really outpatient. It's like kind of half and half. It's like people who, wow,
dude, you can't just wear a shirt without a jacket or a vest or something.
I'll talk about the vest. There's a reason why I wear the vest.
How are you gonna have a bow tie without the vest? Like,
no, but I there's a reason why I wear the vest.
So you can save the shirts and they don't get stained.
Well, that's one reason, but the main reason.
Okay, sorry.
Because if you're in the audience, you know that I'm trans. Mm-hmm. And when you're trans, your bone structure is not the same as a cis man. So your hips don't fit dress shirts. Like at least mine don't. They don't fit dress shirts.
Oh, I see.
So I have to tuck in my shirt and I can't button it all the way. So there's a reason I wear the sweater vest.
Yeah, because they literally make, unless you go super large on shirts, like in the big, tall, whatever fat guy section, they're all like really slim. And you're right. I have the same fucking problem because there's a reason. I have my mom's hips, unfortunately. I'm like, can you correct that?
Yeah, and the trade-off is the shoulders, right?
The fat sucked out of my ass so it doesn't look so girly anymore. That'd be great. Anyways, hi, sweet. How you doing, buddy?
Happy Aortic Dissection Awareness Month.
Oh, yay.
What is it?
Yeah, actually, I was trying to pull that picture off, and it wouldn't let me save it on my computer. I was trying to pull it off, so I was going to put it up in the background, but I couldn't get it.
What are we talking about?
The picture of the surgery.
No. Well, we'll talk about that in a second. Ox is shocked. He didn't know you were trans. Anyways,
but I was talking about the clinic. So we're in. It's like a half outpatient because the purpose of this clinic, it's attached to the hospital and it's internal medicine and it's run by the same doctors that do inpatient. So it's basically follow up for people who were inpatient. So it's like it's not really primary care, but it is like outpatient after you've been hospitalized. But so I've been there today and it's really It's a lot because it is a residency program. So the residents have to each do a day in clinic every week. And the thing about residency programs is like the hierarchy of medicine is so present, and like you live your life by the hierarchy. So you have the attending, you have like the senior residents, then you have the interns, and then you have the med students. Med students are at the bottom of the pile, and they like the attendings will make the residents and the med students, like they'll ask them questions until they cry. And then the residents will ask the med students questions until they cry. So just everyone is asking med students questions until they cry. That's just how it is. And so like normally on the wards, like in hospital, we do rounds. So you're getting the questions until you cry. We call it pimping. You get pimped for like a few hours, and then you're sent off to like study and like do other things. Like they get a good amount of time on your own to like learn. But then if you're in the clinic, when I'm learning, if you're in a clinic with residents, it's 9 fucking hours of pimping because you're with them all day. So every time you're in the room with a resident, you're getting pimped. So it's just 9 hours.
Yeah, because they've been you and now they're higher and now they're going to be like shit rolls
and
downhill,
now they
bro.
can.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now they can. But it's how you learn. You learn by looking stupid. So like there's nothing is a better motivator than looking stupid. Like, let's be honest. So it sucks, but it's also like, this is how it is. So this is my life now. So I would love it. I would love it tonight if nobody asks me difficult questions because I'm dead.
We won't talk about it. That's fine.
Cool.
Oh, speaking of medical stuff, Swede, your picture. So this is what happened, everybody. I was showing crude pictures on my phone and holding up to the camera all night, and nothing, no ban, no copyright strike, no nothing, right? Everything's fine. And this was pictures of like pussies with teeth. Okay? Like crude shit. Yeah, it's a whole different thing, but we'll get into the dentures in a minute.
Yeah.
So that's a whole nother discussion with Ben and I. So Swede was like, "Hey, you guys want to see this?" And he because it's aortic dissection awareness month. He was like, "Let me show you what it looks like when they're putting the valve into someone's chest." And there was like the paper, the blue paper, right? A little ring about this big of red fleshy stuff, and then the valve and a dark hole. They struck me on Twitch. And kicked me off for 7 days.
For gore.
For gore, yeah.
For gore. For blood and gore. No, it was also listed under medical procedures. So my theory is this. If you hold that shit up, they don't have a fucking clue. But if you screen share it, they check that shit. That's what I think it is. I think there's an algorithm for when you screen share, it checks what you're screen sharing. Because I've held up all kinds of nasty, half-naked women on my phone and everything, never got caught. Never got caught until I did a screen share. My thoughts. Night, great. Christian. Thanks for stopping by. Love you, man. Peace. Anyways, yeah. No, we were talking about all kinds of different stuff. We were talking about, I was telling them how one of the patients, one of the patients says to me, that was the rest of that story, and I got segued. She said to me, she was asking me about being trans. Okay, so you're going to be a guy, right? Okay, cool. That's great. Good for you. Good for you for being yourself. It's important. Life's too short. And I'm like, sweet. Thanks, Annie, And she's like, so because she had already asked me, can I ask you some personal questions? I said, sure. So she said, are you going to get a penis? And I was like, okay, I didn't see that one coming. And I said, well, and then I thought, God, do I want to say that's too personal, or do I just want to answer it and get these people's minds open more? Fuck it, I'll answer it. So I said, well, actually, I don't know yet. They're doing new studies on it, and they're making it so the transplants are better, and so they're functional, like fully. They're working on being. And now, if they get them fully functional, I will take that risk because that's a high risk surgery. If they don't, then I don't see the point in it. And I said, but I will be getting my boobs cut off before you ask. And she laughed and said, that was my next question. So I said, yeah, I'm going to get those removed. And I don't know what I'll do downstairs right now. We'll take it as it comes. By the time I'm ready for that, it'll be 1.5 years, 2 years from now or something like that before they'll even let me do it anyways. So by then, maybe they'll make advancements. I could kind of given up on it until Ben convinced me otherwise that they are working on that.
Ben had brought up the last stream, I think, that how it's not our right to just march up to a trans folks and be like, what you got down there?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And at the same time, I was listening to Ben, saying that, and I was thinking, like, 6 years ago, I did that to somebody. But I didn't start off that way. We were having a conversation about transitioning, and eventually I asked the question. I said, did you decide whether or not you wanted to get, surgery down there to MAPS or not? And then I thought, oh my God. And then I said, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Because then I realized, like, I don't normally go, what kind of genitals are you rocking to anybody? So I had caught myself. And she said, no, that's okay. And then she's like, I decided to remain intact, and this is why. And her reasoning was interesting to me, and I felt like I learned a lot. But at the same time, I have been that person that just goes, well, what's going on?
But here's the thing. If people want to ask those questions, it's okay, but make sure you have a decent relationship with that person. So one, they know that you don't mean any harm by it. Two, you know who they are, so they, like, you guys are, you understand each other. Let's put it that way. Make sure you understand each other first, and then say, hey, I would like to ask you a couple personal questions about being trans, like Annie did with me today. If that's okay with you. If it's not, it's fine. And then if they say
make sure
yes,
you know what kind of questions are okay to ask them.
Yeah, but always just and then say, okay, if at any time I say something you don't like, just say, nope, not answering it, and the conversation will be done. I won't bring it back up again. And then you give them that opportunity to draw that line. Like, ask, if this is okay with you, I would like to ask you a couple. If you're not comfortable with it, no worries. Don't worry about it. But if you just walk up to somebody and you start talking to them, and then you realize they're trans, and you're like, got a dick? You can't do that shit, man.
Yeah.
We don't walk up. Nobody walks up to a guy and goes, how big is it, man? You got a big one or a little one? Like, it's the same thing. It's none of anybody's fucking business but his and whoever he's with.
Well, I mean, but if it's Jill, I can just assume it's little and tease him about it anyway, right?
Oh yeah, well yeah.
Well, yeah, and along with
doesn't even
that,
have one.
like make sure that the conversation, if you're going to ask them if it's okay to ask those questions, make sure like the conversation you've been having up to that point is relevant. Because even if you're good friends, it does not mean like you're just gonna have it. Like, it doesn't mean you get to just interrogate somebody about being trans and their body is like, if the conversation gets there and you want to ask, like, okay, is it okay if I ask you questions about your body? Like, okay, if you've already led out to that, but even if you're friends, if you're just like, hey, I have questions about being trans and like your body, it's like, even if we're friends, sometimes it's like, if the question didn't lead there, like if there's no reason for you to be curious about that, it's still kind of, even if we're friends, it's still kind of like
the dick,
right?
Weird.
I think
But the reason she brought it up to begin with is because she's known me by B, and then I've been trying to get my patients adjusted to my name. So
yeah, but it's still weird about asking
her
about genitals, because it's like, it doesn't matter. Like, even if you are friends, it's still like, well, I guess even you think about it, even if you're
I don't
okay
care,
with it,
though.
No, yeah, but that's you. But here's the thing.
And that's what I said earlier. I'm
acceptable.
okay. People come to me. Please come to me because I don't care. I'll say whatever. Where other people, they will be embarrassed or hurt.
And that's what I'm saying.
By
like,
it. So yeah, don't walk up to everybody and do that.
Because one trans person, if that trans person says you can ask me anything, that's fine. But it should not be commonplace. Like, do not.
100%.
Like I want to make sure that people who aren't trans aren't thinking that all trans people, or that even most trans people, are okay answering that question. No. Because even if, like, let's say I'm uncomfortable answering that question, if you pose that to me, like, then I kind of know you're thinking about what's in my pants. And if I'm not interested in that, like, it's kind of tainted the relationship a little bit. Just like, even if you're my best friend, like, why is my best friend thinking about my genitals?
Right. Well, I feel like
why? Because you don't need to ask your cis friends what their genitals are. Like, you can have so many friends and be friends with them for a long time and not ever know what their genitals are. So, like, why does being trans mean that it's suddenly okay for you to need to ask about my genital surgery status?
No, and I agree with you.
It changes nothing about our friendship.
I have weird friends that do talk about their genitals, actually, but they're weird.
it's like
my point is that I am, because I'm such a here I am person and I just don't care, that I decided, since it doesn't bother me, it doesn't hurt my feelings, it doesn't offend me, nothing. People can ask me what, I don't give a shit. I really don't care. I'll tell you the truth. And if you don't like it, then you shouldn't have asked.
That's fine
but
for
I'm
you.
trying to stop people, because my fear is that there's so many people out there that they don't really mean anything by it, but they don't know how to deal with it because they're just typical cishet people. I've never been around anybody trans or gay. I don't know what to do with this, right? Or whatever. So if I can answer those questions and open their mind a little bit and make them think, oh, well, that's not so bad, or, oh, that's a good reason, or whatever, so they can understand us better, then I'm going to do that for the community. I'm totally cool with it.
Fair.
And
that's
fair. It's not okay to ask everybody.
Yeah. Because like if someone asks you that, like if that patient asked you that, like I would absolutely say, like, even if I was okay answering the question, I would say, okay, I will answer this question for you, but please do not ask anybody else this question. Like, make sure that like they understand that question is kind of inappropriate, because I don't want them to think that they can go ask other people, because I want to protect other trans people from having to deal with questions they're not comfortable with.
Yeah, and they you know, the thing is first of all, I've been joking around, and we have like done kind of like not appropriate kind of lewd jokes, joking around, not towards each other, just about shit in general. And so her and I already had this, you know, we know we're real people and we cuss rapport, you know what I mean? And so she comes in there a lot. I'm very familiar with her. I've talked to, she's had a lot of medical conditions. I've spent a lot of time on the phone with her, and we've joked around, and I made her feel better when she was down. So I feel like that's why nobody else is just going to walk up and ask me like that. It's because her and I do have a good rapport. And second of all, I want to, before anybody says anything, hold on, Ollie. Von Rick, I want to approach this question because this statement, because yes, that does happen in gay bars, but everybody at the gay bar is gay. There's not straight people walking down the street going up to the guy standing outside the gay bar and going, how big is your dick? That would be offensive.
Clearly never been to a gay bar.
If you are,
because there are straight people doing that.
Well, the point is that if people, like, if Ben and I discuss shit, you know, bro to bro discuss shit, that's personal, we're okay with that. We're both trans. We understand each other. There's no offense taken either way.
And it's also different.
But when someone's outside the community walks up and jumps into that, it can be taken as being offensive, because gay people have been bashed for so fucking long, and people have asked them questions like, oh, are you trans? Yes. And then they beat the shit out of them.
And here's the other thing.
That. It makes you hypersensitive.
If you are at a gay bar and you know people are looking for sexual partners, if you're looking for sexual partners or asking about becoming somebody's sexual partner, that is an okay time and place to talk about genitals.
Yes.
The thing is, trans people get this question all the time. And like I probably sound very angry about this question, because this is my reality. Like, this is something that is part of my body that I hate about myself. Like, I hate this. And people think it's okay to interrogate me as if like I'm some museum piece that they've never seen before. Like, because I know not a lot of people know trans people. That does not mean that I am a zoo exhibit for you to ask questions to and like satisfy your curious fantasies. So please, like, this is really, really a big deal for a lot of people. So that's why I'm trying to protect trans people who don't want to have to cross this boundary, because they're forced to cross this like every day. And so if we can prevent them from having to go through that, that's the goal here. So like, I'm not trying to offend anybody, and like your own personal preferences of how you want to answer questions is fine, but like,
absolutely,
other people should not be forced to do something that other people are not forced to do.
Yeah, no, it's not. And I mean this when I say this. If anybody ever says to anybody out here, I don't care who you are, I have questions about being trans, tell them to get a hold of me. I will fucking answer any question they have, because I'm fine with it. But like I said, not everybody is. Just send people to me if they have
the Transatlantic Call-In Show. There's the Transatlantic Call-In Show for a reason. Like, that is their show. Is to take calls from people like that.
Yeah. So
like,
do that. You know, ask questions. Make sure it's an appropriate question for what's going on. Like Ben said, you don't want to, oh, the weather's nice, got a dick. No, you don't do that. If that person's confiding in you to the point where you feel comfortable asking that question with them, let them lead into it. Never, you shouldn't, I don't care what the subject is. If it's a personal subject, you shouldn't push anybody into it. Anybody. If someone comes to you and says, I need to talk, and they sit down and spill their guts, fine. Don't pry into their shit. What they shared with you is what they're willing to share with you. That goes for everybody. Gay people, trans people, fucking black people, fucking Irish people. I don't care who you are. Whatever you are, that goes for everybody in every situation. Everybody should always respect each other's boundaries and respect each other's space. Bottom line.
Yeah, and Von Rick, I get you had that experience like back in the 80s, like when people would ask you all those questions. And yeah, it's not okay that people did that. Like I know it was common that people did that back then, but it was not okay. It never was okay.
No.
And it never will be okay.
No. And the difference is between then and now is then there were so few gay people around that gay or trans or whatever you were, non-binary, whatever, people around that they couldn't say anything. There was no one else that had their back. Society sure as fuck wasn't even close to having their back. Well, now we can stand up and say, no, it's not okay. You know, it's just like POCs being able to say, no, it's not fucking okay that you had us enslaved. It's not okay. None of it is okay. But you get to that point in society in that time frame where you're like, now I can do this. That's why I didn't come out as trans years ago. I lived on the East Coast and like on the edge of the fucking Bible Belt on the South. They would have fucking hung me. And I know that. I grew up in the middle of fucking West Virginia because my parents took us out there when I was little. Like, those people would have hung me. They were burning white crosses in yards. Or burning crosses in yards, wearing white fucking hoods. I'm not kidding you. Like, I wasn't going to come out. Are you fucking crazy? I mean, I'm a little wild, but I'm not an idiot. You know? So, but that's how it is now. And now we can stand up and say, no, it's not okay. And everybody should be able to do that. I don't care if it's somebody on here that, you know, we're joking around and somebody, you can always say it's not okay. Just don't be mad at the person because they didn't know. Tell them it's not okay. If they do it again, then be mad at them. You know, as far as like casual jokes amongst friends go. Like you got, you know, but people need to communicate and people need to respect each other. And if people just did that, this world would be fucking amazing. Yes.
Also the type of question that you asked too. There's a big difference between what are you doing or can you explain to me like what the thought process goes through for surgical interventions? Like for trans people. That's right. More generalized. It's more like when you approach this subject, what are your concerns? What are the risks? What goes through your mind when you think about those things? Which is a completely different question than what's in your pants.
Yes. That's
Thank you, Ox, for bringing a little bit of humor to it. But seriously, it's it's like I've known
concerned about the question I was asking than at the actual like personal what's in yours.
Yeah, that's true. Because for me, it wasn't a fetish thing at all. Like, but fetish things totally exist. So like, I witnessed, for instance, an atheist, I guess talking head type person, kind of grill a trans person who just kind of came out about their sexuality. Well, are you polyamorous? Do you swing? Do you do this? Do you do that? Do you do that? Like really wild sexuality questions that, like, I'm like, whoa, where did this come from? Like, and I'm just like a deer in the headlights going, I don't know what that is.
Wow. No, see, shit like that's not okay, guys. Seriously.
Well, I mean, it's really conservative talking points there where, you know, it's like if you're trans, you're into all sorts of debauchery. Like, I don't even think they, like, atheists and gay people, trans, like, they're, you know, they think it's not even human. Or black people, you know, whatever.
Yeah, any of those categories, right?
You get othered, and it's just like you're a thing now, and I don't know. I mean, and I'm not saying like this is like even what do you call it? Like a conscious thought, but it seems to be the way they treat others, right? Like, what do I need to respect if you're not in my group?
Well, you know, I don't know. People just need to, like, okay, If you walk, I'll put an example out there. I knew plenty of cishet guys over the years, different places I've lived, that if someone said to them, "Are you gay?" or even asked them if they were straight, they would be offended. Of course I'm straight. I'm totally offended right now. What makes you think it's not going to make a fucking trans person be offended? Just walking up and asking them some shit. None of your fucking business. That's the bottom line, really. It's nobody's fucking business. And the only reason that I'm saying, okay, I'll talk about it is because I want people to start having, the only way to normalize is talk about it. It's the bottom line. You have to talk about it. Yeah. And so I'll be that person for this entire community.
Yeah, but the media doesn't make it any easier either. Because I remember when Caitlyn Jenner came out as trans, and every article I read about her was, it's uncertain if she's had, bottom surgery, but this is what's most likely. And I mean, like this is just like a normal thing to do, for like, I mean, even with celebrities, we tend to give them a lot of, privacy as it comes to, their private parts, or even like for pregnancies, nobody's like trying to like out their medical history, or unless there's like something like kind of crazy, like Kate Middleton, I think with each of her pregnancies she was sick, and so they were speculating that she was pregnant because she was canceling all these engagements because she, and they were like, oh, it's probably morning sickness. Yeah, I mean, but that aside, like nobody's like wondering, like, when's her period going to start, or stuff like that, like they would with like trans celebrities.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's true. It's just ridiculous. And there's been such a bad label stamped on everything, and Christians got to hate and shit, and it's just ridiculous. So I'm in an area where people are open and honest and friendly, and it's the best place to start. Nobody's going to jump me here and beat me up because I'm trans, and I could talk about it all day in front of the world, and no one would. I mean, I've seen trans couple. I saw one that was he was like 65. She was like 60 to 62 ish. And he's like, well, they're like, probably like 6'4", long gray hair, wearing a dress and everything. But their stature, you could tell that they were originally a he, so, and you could tell they'd been together forever because of the way they were with each other, so you could tell, like, I mean, I looked at him and said, oh, look, and I looked around and no one looked twice at him. Nobody. They'd come in our store just randomly and get prescriptions. The couple would. And I mean, just nobody looked twice at him. Nobody cares here. And I'm like, I'm in the best fucking place to do this, So if I can start at a place like this where I won't get jumped at the end of the day when I'm trying to go out to my vehicle after work, then, this is the best place to start, I feel like.
Yeah, people don't care here either. They don't but there are some areas in my state where people do care, and it just depends on where you are. But San Diego is incredibly LGBTQ friendly, and there's not any fear there. But there are some places in California where I'd be a little more, even like Fresno, maybe a little more tense about it. Probably.
Yeah, are you in a conservative area? Because I know you said your whole family was conservative.
They moved away, but my city has conservative elements that are connected to the military.
Okay.
But other than that, not so much, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, then Orange County, which is our neighbor, that's a real big pocket of rich conservatism right there.
No, my parents used to live in Orange County. California is such a mixed bag.
But even the OC, like, there's this weird, dare I say, like Caitlyn Jenner kind of thing. Like, we like our gay friends, our trans friends, but we still are going to vote against you, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. California, I mean, it just really is weird. I mean, would think it's its own country. The way it works, like the culture, everything.
You're in my state, right? Or no?
No.
You.
Oh, wait,
okay.
me or who?
I thought you.
Cali
You
needs to
sound
become
like you're in
part
my
of
state.
Canada.
Oh, please take us and Washington State, please, and Oregon, us, all of us.
You don't want any part of those states except for the major metropolitan areas. Anything outside of that is Trump country.
Yeah,
that's true. There's a lot of red in California.
Yeah, same with probably any blue state.
Yeah,
you know, you get the even Georgia. My oldest younger brother is in the Atlanta area, and I was during the elections, I was trying to get a feel for what was going on over there, and he was like, "Well, you know, there's Atlanta, there's whatever the college town was," and then he was like,
Athens.
"There's Athens, yes." And then there's another place that he said, you know, they're very purple, but maybe, you know, pushing blue. And he's like, those are really the only 3 cities, and he thought it would be a toss up. He like to the point where he didn't think they'd get both. He thought that they'd get 1 Republican and 1 Democrat senator. He didn't think that.
Like, well, that's what the polls were saying.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if you look at New York, like New York City, it very blue, and then you get the rest of New York who just wants to kick the city out so they can, you know.
Except for Buffalo, Buffalo, Albany.
Oh, Buffalo. I don't know about Albany.
Syracuse.
But most of New York is pretty red, like.
Oh yeah.
Really bad.
Well, it's same with Nebraska. You know, Sarpy and Douglas County, we voted blue, and then the rest of the state went red. But
yeah,
luckily,
and I thought that Tennessee was stark raven red, and I didn't realize that Memphis was blue.
Yep.
Is that like stark raven mad? Is that like stark raven mad? Stark raven red?
I mean, to me, yeah.
That's awesome.
You talk to them.
I love it.
That's funny.
I'm sorry, sweet. I cut you off.
It's just, you know, we're one of the few states that can actually split our electoral vote.
Oh yeah. You had a senator or something or a representative that fought really hard for that though, right?
Yes, we've had it for a long time, and now our governor wants to get rid of it because he's, you know, a prick.
They all are. What I don't understand.
No governors are pricks. Come on, man.
He looks like Jeff Bezos and is just as bad. Because
politicians are all the most pure-hearted people ever.
All of them, yeah.
All of them are just
CEOs.
Like epitome of humanity.
I mean, and the thing is, like, I'm used to them being partisan. I don't understand this, like, you know, being. I mean, you can be I don't understand why you can't be a sane Trump supporter, but like.
Sorry.
I know it's an oxymoron, but like, why do you have to like try to kill people to, you know, if you identify as a Trump supporter? I really don't understand that. You can't just like, you know, like before it's like, yeah, I'm doing all the things I did before, except, you know, I'm just going to like vocally go out and suck Trump's dick. But like, no, it has to come with, you know, kicking trans kids out of school and, you know,
this weird package
deal, abortion
right?
rights and like, you know, trying to, you know, like ban masks from schools and kill school children. Like, why does all of that have to come in the package?
Right. Well, I mean, I feel that way about a lot of left too. So like, there's not everything on the left that I agree with.
There's nobody that, I mean, yeah, sure. But like, nobody's like sucking Obama's dick. So they have to give the state Medicare for all. Right.
But like, I see people forgiving Biden for Afghanistan. And then I'm like,
yeah.
I'm looking at,
yeah.
It depends on the angle you want to go at it. I mean, I
think we set up a lot of people for death.
Hate. Biden's getting a lot more hate than I think he deserves, and Bush is getting way more of a pass than I think he deserves.
Mm-hmm.
Just
depends on whether you want to be there forever or not.
I
think you can do an exit. I think that's a poor excuse. You can exit without murdering everybody that supported
you. We can't.
You and everybody
no. We cannot.
Nope.
I haven't seen it happen yet. I'm just saying.
Like everybody that uncovered their face, everybody that got educated, everybody that took a leadership position, they're gonna be dead.
Probably, but like we don't care. I don't know if you've noticed that about us.
Like, you mean as the U.S.? Yeah, we're a bunch of assholes. We need to. Yep.
And
we really are. It's ridiculous.
Like, I'm not giving anybody a pass. I just want to be clear about that. But like us, like getting people out, like through and out of a war safely, like that's never been a priority.
Well,
the U.S. has done a great job at fucking over the rest of the world.
Oh yeah,
done a really good job at that.
As long as all the death doesn't happen on our shores, it's fine, right?
Apparently.
If you want a good book about everything the United States has done in that region, go read Confessions of an Economic Hitman by John Paxton.
Oh God.
Like if you're not already depressed and want to be suicidal,
that book will make you look at our country completely, and Canada and England and every other Western nation that does this.
Yeah.
There's no country without blood on its hands.
Right.
Arabia is our friend. They're our ally.
Only when we need oil from each other.
John Paxton is actually the guy that did the Saudi Arabian money laundering deal that set up the entire King of Saud family with the United States for us to protect.
Yes, Ollie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ollie, is that the motto of the U.S. military?
It could be. It could be.
Like seriously.
Like everything could like. I love to say this because like anyone who was in the army or is currently in the army knows that the army values spell out leadership. There's no E in leadership. You know why? Because efficiency is not an army value and it never will be.
You know, my favorite thing about when I was in the army was this. Like, this was the best, like, humorous thing anyway. I mean, there was some good points about it. Don't get me wrong. As far as the people I was around, they were all like family. That part was good. Some of the rules were like, what the fuck? Mm-hmm. So they would get us up at like 1 o'clock in the morning, let us sleep a few hours, wake us up, make us get geared up, go for a jog through the woods. We get where we were going, like 2 hours later or whatever, they'd sit you down and say, wait, and then you wait 3 hours. Why don't you just let me sleep 2 or 3 more hours? Is so unproductive. If you have an exhausted soldier, you're not going to, that's unproductive. Why the fuck would you do that? Let the motherfucker sleep 3 more hours.
Because morale doesn't matter.
Everybody that was in the military, do you know what this means? And you got to watch my screen here for a second.
Okay.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
I don't see what's on the screen.
You blinked.
Oh, is it his nose?
It's a brown noser.
Mm-hmm.
No. It means fuck knows. Fuck knows. Right?
Like who the fuck knows?
Yeah. Well,
okay.
You're trying to answer the question. Somebody asked you a question. Fuck knows.
How many army folks do we have in here?
I was militia.
I'm current.
Full time.
Okay. So like I come from a Navy family. I was never in the Navy, but I come from a Navy family and people like to bash the Navy. And so like I'm like, it never fails. I'm like, what branch are you? And they're like, Army. And I'm like, well, you have the most deaths and accidents for no reason.
Well, here's the thing. People, I see a lot of people like from military families, like who aren't in themselves, or like people who have ties to the military. Like, it's like, so when the military branches bash each other, it's like sibling rivalry, right? So like people bash the Navy. Well, I'm like the Army bashes the Navy because we do, but the Navy bashes us back, and it's a thing. So like the family of the military people will be like, "Why are you being so rude to each other?" It's like because that's what we do.
I mean, everybody bashes the Air Force, including some people in the Air Force.
And then the Air Force bashes everyone. Like everyone bashes each other, and that's just how it goes. It's love.
But really, it depends. It really depends on your intelligence level and your skill set. That's really what it is. Like if you're of high fucking intelligence and you want to sit at a computer all day and do equations and shit, Air Force is for you. because the other ones you don't have as much of that, you know. that's not what they're not training a bunch of people to do that shit, you know.
But it's like we give each other shit because it's like the sibling rivalry. It's like we all know we're on the same team. We love each other. Yeah. But like you have to give your brother shit because that's just what you do. But then if another country steps in, like if Canada starts insulting the Air Force, you know what? I'm backing up my Air Force buddy.
You, United States Air Force.
like if because we know we're on the same team. It's just it's just the rivalry. Yeah.
It's like the Steelers and Dallas Cowboys. They have to hate each other. It's a rule. That rule's been there since like the 70s or 80s or no 60s.
70s.
So 70s. Thank you. I thought it was the 70s. 73-ish? No, 77-ish.
I'll hear Marines
all
be
the 70s.
Like, yeah, the Navy's our taxi driver.
Yeah.
Yeah, they joke about that, but then like I was like this was on Instagram during I think it was the football game between Navy and Army. And so like for the whole month leading up to it, their Instagram pages were just getting at each other because you do. That's what they do. And then somebody from I think it was somebody from Canada was like so how about the Canadian Army? And then the US Navy's page was like, nah, like we'll support the US Army. Like they will like even the US Navy will defend the US Army like if another country's bashing us. Like at least like we all know at the end of the day we're US and we're gonna love each other over everybody else.
Oh hell yeah. Yeah. I remember when I was in the Army, we went to a Navy base for some training. It was like some kind of, I don't know, leadership kind of class or something. And the Army base we were at wasn't doing it or something happened. So they send us over to this Navy base. And I'm walking around with an E7 and two E6s. And all the Navy guys, because they don't know the rank, they all stopped and like saluted. And so the first time it happened, Sergeant Green, the E7, he was like, he just, whipped one back at him and kept going. And the guy stood stock still. And then as soon as he left, he was like, and he went forward, And I was like, dude, what the fuck was that? And he goes, oh, they don't know our ranks in here. They salute everybody. Unless you have like the private one little whoosh. They salute everybody above that because they don't know who anybody is.
That's
right?
hilarious.
So I was like, dude, you're kidding me right now. Because he was always making jokes. He was a really funny guy, Don Green. He goes, no, you just watch. And we kept walking and we had to walk from the parking lot. It was like, bases. There's a lot of walking on bases. There's not parking lots everywhere. So we're like walking through all these different areas, buildings, past common areas, trying to get to this other building. And every group of soldiers, or every group of seamen, over and over again. And I was like, dude, what? This is great. That's so we were all like, as you were. It's fun. It's fucking great. And I just laughed. And then I told my brother, who was a dickhead that was in the Navy, that later on, he got pissed. But, he's a dickhead. I don't care.
Yeah, where's Jonathan when we need him? He's our Navy boy.
He is. Oh, we could pick on some seamen.
Wait, Spackle, are you still there?
I could be your proxy Navy person because I was in for 5 days for OCS before they kicked me out.
Nah, you gotta at least go into like get through boot camp. At least have a story.
I wouldn't have gone through boot camp. I wasn't going to go through boot camp.
But when I was young,
I was in OCS.
Oh, okay. See, I don't know. That's Navy shit. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you do.
I'm
kidding. I laughed. I was kidding.
Wait, B, were you Army or?
Yeah, I was. Well, I was. I actually went in the National Guard.
Okay.
Because my plan was to feel it out and possibly get some free college.
Yeah.
And nice. I went in, and then my whole life turned to shit, and then I ended up working for the National Guard full time. I literally like pulled up to the post with my car full of shit, and I had nowhere to go. And so I was time for me to go to work, to go to my drill. So I went to my drill, and one of my sergeants was like, Madsen, why do you have all your stuff in the back of your car? Because this one named Susie, she was like 10, 11 years older than me, I think. And she was kind of like my big sister for a while. Like, she had my back, but she'd also fucking put me in, like, she'd straighten me out like that. Like, no, She was like, Madsen, why is all your shit in the back of your car? Got evicted because my roommate stole all my money for 3 months because back then we paid cash for everything. she's like, well, that's fucked up. And I said, yeah, it is. She goes, follow me home. You're staying at my place. So you find a place. And I said, no, ma'am. No. She's like, don't call me ma'am. I'm not an officer. And she smiled at me. She goes, get your ass ready because when we're done today, you're following me home. So then she was like, what's going on? I was like, I don't have a job. I don't have any money. I was pregnant. I had my baby. And I went to AT and came back. No, I came back from AT and my shit was just gone, man. Just, they put stuff in my car and stole the rest of my shit and stole 3 months worth of rent from me. Yeah, good friends, right? While I'm pregnant. They ate my food too. The last month and a half, 2 months I was pregnant, I ate nothing but rice with different kinds of condiments on it because I had no money. Nobody would hire me because I was out to here fucking pregnant. I was just fucked. So anyways, moral of the story is she let me stay with her and then talk to the master sergeant, and he said, okay, blah, blah, blah. You can come do this. We need somebody anyways to help the sergeants out with what they're doing. So they hired me in full time and brought me on full time. And I worked there for a while and got my shit together and got my head pulled out of my ass. But you know, that's how it is in the military though. Like they literally got your back. Now, the Army as a whole may not have your back. The Navy as a whole may not, but your shipmates or platoon mates or whatever they fucking are, whatever you're in, your airplane mate, I don't know. Those people are family. And it gets serious. Like, you'll get attached to a big group of people.
Yeah.
You guys will end up doing everything together. I'm going to go out to dinner. Everybody want to go? Yeah. Everybody goes together. Like, that's just... how it is.
So when I considered joining the Navy, I was interested in being a corpsman. And that was like right before 9/11 happened. And then 9/11 happened and I went, I don't know if I want to get in a war in the whole Middle East. My question to you folks is, when you joined, were we jumping into a war at the time? And how do you decide?
It was
not when I went in.
2005 when I was trying to get an OCS.
It was what?
2005.
2005. Okay.
You're cute.
I applied for my scholarship in 2019.
I was in from 87 to 90. So I was only in for 3 years.
The question is kind of weird. The United States has been at war since 18 or whatever.
Yeah, I know we're always in different kinds of wars, but there's some wars that appear to be.
First of all, hold on a second. I didn't get to say how long I was in, and brag about how old I am. I was in from 88 to 92.
Yeah.
Oh no, that was a Gulf War.
I avoided
I got in before it.
Oh, did you?
I was already in, and then when I started working full time is when the Gulf War hit, and my brother went over to Desert. Both of them, two went over to Desert Shield, and then one of them came back, and the other one was there for Desert Storm as well.
God.
I avoided the draft for Vietnam in '72.
Good job, Jenny. And how are you? I miss you.
I know.
I'm all right. How are you?
How do you do that?
Fine, sweetheart. Sorry, you came in. We were in a full-on discussion.
Yeah,
I didn't mean to ignore you.
Back and listening, trying to catch up.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
I think it's interesting because we are always war hopping, right? But then there's some wars that look like with the 9/11 thing, it was like, oh fuck, is this gonna be a world war? like how bad is this gonna be?
No, my husband did that. He went in 98, and then when his Navy and when his term was over in 2002, he was like, no, I love this. Like, sign me back up. And he was, I don't know. He was like, yeah, I served during wartime, but he's like, it was Navy. So he was taking the Marines to, I don't know, fucking whatever they were doing.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's that, huh?
So I just got an interesting message on Twitter, and I'm kind of excited about it.
Go.
This is random. So there's this pharmacy student in Egypt who wants to practice his English. And so now we're chatting about Egyptology. And He's like, I'm wanting to practice my English. Is it okay if we just have a conversation about the Egyptian museums and all the cool places in Egypt? And I was like, yeah, we could talk about that. Like, I'm happy to practice English with you.
Right? Maybe you can learn some of his language. Or there, male or female?
I think male, but I'm not going to assume.
Okay,
but
they. You might be able to learn some of their language.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested in talking. I love like Egyptian history, so I'm like, I will always talk Egyptian history with somebody.
It is very interesting. I've always found it. Yeah. Like most history bores me. Well, that's not true. The boring history bores me, but the shit that's actually like got some meat to it makes sense. Stuff you can see like today, what the result of that is. That kind of history I like. I don't like dead end history. I like to see the trace back to, okay, this happened and that happened. That now we're here and here we're fucked. Well, son of a bitch, how come nobody paid attention to that? You know, like that's what I like to find out about.
Also, can I shill something really quick?
Of course, bro. You can shill whatever fuck you want. I'll give you the channel for the night. I don't give a shit.
I made a video last night that I posted on my Only Gloves. Mice saw it, but I was just like, I need to make this weirder. So I put on the gloves, and then I filled a part of a plastic sandwich bag with mayonnaise, and I squirted it all over my gloves and like rubbed it all over my.
Did you do it? Oh, was it nasty? Did you get the vegan stuff so it was almost clear?
No, it's just regular mayo because I was just like, whatever's in my fridge. But I was like,
why,
dude? That is so.
Oh.
Well, no, but mice saw it. Mice liked it.
It's going to be your best performing video.
Of course, tons of mice liked it. He's sick in the head.
Well, yeah, it's mice. Mice is probably Ben's first fucking sub or follower, or whatever you call it.
Didn't he create the channel?
He started it all.
Yeah, he started this whole thing. I'm surprised I haven't gotten messages from mice on OnlyFans telling me about his beautiful butthole.
Oh my god.
My butthole is so beautiful. Every fucking chat he does it to you.
Mice loves to talk about his beautiful butthole.
He does. It's like, I have a beautiful butthole, I'll have you know.
Really?
Yesterday in Neil's stream, we were talking about what circle of hell we'd all end up in. And apparently the circle of hell I would end up in, according to mice, is the 9th layer, because that's where Satan is and that's where his butthole is. And so my circle of hell is Satan's butthole, apparently.
Oh, mice.
Christy, do you want in on this conversation? Tell me now, lady.
Come on.
Oh, yeah, come on, jump in.
I'm
been
so
a big
confused
news
on how
day.
you
We have
determine
to
what's a
discuss
good
it.
Talk about
investment.
Satan's asshole some more.
Yeah, she doesn't want to come in because of Satan's butthole.
You know, that'll keep anybody off of a panel right there.
I feel like Satan's butthole's just like after you eat like one of those one chip challenges.
How do you determine what level of hell you're going to?
That's based on your. We had this debate about if it's your worst sin or if it's the sin you do most often, or like what determines because they're all different sins, right?
Yeah, what determines the worst thing to put you in that layer of hell?
The bottom layer is treachery. So in the very base of hell is like Brutus and Judas.
Yep.
But I'm there because Satan occasionally needs a prostate exam, so that's why I get put there.
Yeah, Ben's got to have his gloves for the prostate exam. That's what Mice said.
Yeah.
So he's got to be in the last layer.
The justification was...
Which layer is that? Which layer is the prostate exam?
Treachery.
9, I guess.
Treachery.
But the other thing was, like, if you think about it, so they're just talking about the circles of hell. Well, Satan's butthole is a circle of hell. Like, it's a circle, and it's in hell.
I feel that
So
if
is
you're going
that
to keep
a
talking
separate
about
circle?
Satan's butthole, you need to add a word to that.
The Taliban celebrating
It
the
should
spoils
be-
of victory with a parade in Canada.
It should be Satan's funky butthole.
Oh no.
It really should be.
Well, let's ask Little Nas X. He'll know.
What happened? Is he
I
in the
don't
news
know.
again?
Somebody
Satan's
about
funky
Gas
butthole.
X? I don't know.
Gas X.
No, Nas X.
Yeah, gas. Oh,
It's
right.
Nas
Same
X,
diff to me.
not Nas. Nas.
There, I found a chart of the hell.
What?
Of Dante's Inferno. Yeah.
I am unfamiliar with
Everything
the
that we
levels of hell.
everything that we imagine about hell comes from Dante's Inferno.
Most
It's all
of it.
imaginary.
Mm-hmm. It's all imaginary. All of it. Except for Satan's butthole. That's real.
Well, yeah. Have you ever
Satan's
tried one of those
funky
one-chip
butthole.
challenges?
I have not tried the one chip challenge. Maybe I should, because I do the spicy ramen challenge for fun. But that will still wreck your butthole.
Yeah.
If you are
It
a
will. It will.
if you
Tell
are an
tell you spicy
unbaptized
bitch.
virtuous pagan, you will make it into limbo. Good luck.
So then so will going too big too fast. Never mind.
Jenny, behave.
I don't know. I just want to make it into hell because like heaven sounds worse.
I mean, if I gotta spend eternity
Depends on
eating
what
those,
it is. We don't know. I just think we don't know anything, and people just want to fucking make up shit and read shit out of a Bible that's not even translated properly into ancient Hebrew. And so I'm just like, you know what? Just fuck it all.
If heaven is a giant church service where I have to eat those styrofoam communion crackers every day for the rest of eternity, no thanks.
No,
Yeah,
Ben.
yeah,
no.
You get to praise God every day.
Because God is humble and he doesn't ask for anything except for he asks for everything. Like he asks for your literal eternity to be like, wow, how awesome.
It's so funny because the Bible is so incredibly vague about this idea of hell or heaven. It's so vague. But what's funny is if you fast forward to Walt Disney, if you ever watched Fantasia, hell is happening. The demons making things happen. It's action. It's exciting. And then they go to heaven and it's like an escalator and everybody's like, Ave Maria.
But also,
and it's like so boring. What's happening?
But also, like, how can you not look at the Bible or like, how can you look at the Bible and not be like, wonder if God or not think that God is a narcissist? Because like, who would create like a whole universe just so that they would be like, oh yeah, you're awesome. Like who needs that much attention?
Worship me, bitches.
Right? Like you're a narcissist.
One atheist, Gus, made it. He's like, maybe God was just lonely. and it was so upsetting to evangelicals there on YouTube. They were like, God's not lonely. He doesn't need us. I'm like, well, clearly he does because he made us to hang out with us.
Like also,
No,
like
that's what I grew up thinking. Like God, God, it was only God, and He was lonely, and so He made all of us. So I guess that we could love Him forever. I don't know, but
it was like
that's what I was told.
There's a difference though between like having a healthy, productive relationship and having a relationship that is worship me.
Yeah.
Like,
it's not like
created an abusive relationship is what.
Yeah, because you can't just say love your father. My dad was a dick. I don't give a fuck. I was mad at him for 15 minutes when he died and I cried for a couple minutes. Like that's how much I don't give a fuck about him. So you can't tell me that everybody should love their father. That's fucking bullshit. So even if he is, you can't say we all should love it. He shouldn't say we all should love him. It's fucking impossible.
Well, I mean,
even if he was.
It's just kind of like how we are with our children, though. Right?
Bye, sweet.
Bye, sweet.
Sorry.
Happy Adam Day month.
Section month. Yay. September 19th is the day. So
sweet.
Right, good luck.
Well, for
his anniversary.
We actually want our children to love us. Yeah. So we put in any amount of effort at all, right? We don't just like Post-it notes around and like, well, you should understand. And if you love me, you would just worship me. And, you know,
I mean,
if you
I'm sure there's
don't,
some people like that.
I mean, yeah, I mean, narcissist though, right?
Oh yeah. I was gonna say my mom was a loving person that wanted us to love her, but we loved her because she was an amazing person. So, you know, it wasn't like she demanded it. You know, I don't understand people who demand things like that or terms of affection. Like my nieces, when they were little, you know, their parents got divorced, and my sister remarried. And so this new guy, after he's in their life for like a year, is like, they should call me dad. So he was like, you need to call me dad. And he's sort like, but you're not my dad. Like, I mean, maybe it was at like 2 to 3 years, but still, like they were 2 and almost 4 when he came into their lives, and they were told, you know, my sister was honest with them, you know, this is your stepfather, you know, and they kind of remember him coming into the picture. So when they got a little older and he was like, you need to call me dad, they're like, what? No, dude, like you're not our dad. We don't feel like that about you. And he was a real dick to him, and he like kept demanding that shit. And I was like,
thing,
oh,
right.
Him and I we went round and round one day. I was like fucking like 17 years old. I think it was right before my mom passed away. And I went down there to visit, and him and I, it was right after she died. I was 18. I think it was right after she died. But anyway, so him and I got into it. Like he's 6'5", and I was up and as close to his face as I could get. We were almost chest to chest, and I was telling him back the fuck off of my goddamn nieces. Like, well, so he was a narcissist, and it's not, you can't, that's my point. Like, if you're a good father, you wouldn't demand that because you're not gonna be a fucking narcissist.
Well, yeah, but if you're the person, you wouldn't have to demand it. Like you know, like my daughter, had a meeting with her boss about like one of her coworkers who wasn't being a team player. And then like her boss started to like kind of turn it around, like, well, maybe it's you. And she's like, are you like, she's like, I feel like I'm being gaslit. So she was just like, I'm taking a lunch. And she was like, well, you know, if you're feeling some kind of way, like, you know, maybe we should talk about it. She's like, no, I need to take a lunch. I need to call my mom. Like that's what she said. And I was like, I mean, I just let her talk, but like for me, it was, I don't know, like maybe I'm a narcissist, I don't know, but like it was really affirming. Like I love my daughter and I want her to trust me. And so when she's like in a really low place and I'm the first person that she thinks of that, you know, to talk to or talk it through with, like that makes me feel great. But I put in a lot of fucking work for that, you know?
Yeah. It has to be an earned position. But I was going to say real quick, I didn't have a good dad. And when he died, I felt relief, which is not a normal response to someone dying, but like there's a reason for it, right? Like that's completely, it's not because I'm a sociopath, but like there's plenty of people in my life that I love that I'd be heartbroken if they died. So, but I was just going to say, I think it's okay to feel that way. And I have had particularly Christians demand me to forgive abusers in my life and say that I have to and I'm obligated to, and in such a way that invites them back into my life to do it over again.
Right.
And I've always had a problem with that, and that's kind of like a holding spot there, just saying, you know, like that's always bothered me. But also I wanted to point out also that you guys know who Christopher Mowdy is at all?
Oh, yeah.
Like I love Christopher Mowdy. He's great. And he does these hangouts where he cooks and people hang out and chat and stuff. One day he was cooking and we hear a little voice, you know, well, it's like a young teen voice in there. And he says the word dad, but Mowdy's stepdad. And I was like, you know, I was really kind of delighted to hear that. It was just kind of nice. And he's like, oh, yeah. But like he asked me to call me that. I didn't demand that of him. And I was like, that is pretty neat. Because if someone picks you as dad or picks you as mom, that's fucking huge. Like that's such a big deal. And that was really sweet to see. Just kind of like, because I see so many like step parents where they other the children, or they do the opposite. They demand respect and that intimacy, but like it's not earned, you know, like I don't know, it's
that's exactly how he was. Same thing. I get it. But anyways, well, that was a depressing subject.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. No, I mean, you know, some things just need to be talked about. It's all right.
I'm totally dark.
I was just trying to lighten the mood a little bit and make a joke, you know.
No, I mean, but I think that goes more to like the contradictions in the Bible. It's just like, you have this all loving God that creates things and don't know how they work or works. Like almost everything that God wants from us is against our nature. Like just the core elements of human nature. It's like asking a blender to be a waffle maker and then blaming the blender for not being that.
Yeah.
It just makes no sense.
It's true. It's true. Oh, crazy shit.
Oh,
it's amazing how much people don't realize as parents, or how many people don't realize as parents, what kind of an influence they have on the rest of their child's life.
Mm-hmm.
What you do has a huge effect. Like my father and I, like I said, we never had a relationship. I was just the sixth child of his. And he didn't interact with girls very well. He was like an old-fashioned fucking dude.
Yeah, my dad
was. So he spent all the time with the boys, and he always had them out in the garage. He was showing them shit, and I'm trying to do this. I want to see, I want to know how to do lathe work, and I'm looking around people and shit, And I was always kind of left to the wayside for him. And the only thing I remember him really communicating about was with me or talking to me was when from the ages of like 18 months to about 3 years, he would ask me to go in the kitchen and get him a beer out of the fridge. I remember that. And I remember when I was like, I think I was like 3.5 or something. And I went to get a beer out of the fridge, and I pulled it out of the fridge, and I looked at my mom, and she looked at me, and the fridge door was open, and he was on the other side of it. And I went, and she looked at me, and she went back to cutting vegetables because she was making dinner. She thought it was hilarious. So she just let him open it. And to the day he died, he never knew that she fucking knew I was gonna can him that shaken up beer. And he opened it and sprayed all over the living room. And he was pissed, and he stood up, and it was all over his clothes. He was like, "God damn it, Eileen! She shook the fucking can." and my mom goes, "Oh, well, she probably just dropped it or something. I'm sure she didn't mean to." And I'm walking back in the kitchen away from him because I knew he was about to blow up. And she looks down at me and winks at me like, and then she goes back to cutting vegetables. She didn't say a fucking word. Well, he would have beat my ass, first of all.
Yeah.
Like he would have beat these shit out. He loved belts. Those big wide 70s belts with the big holes in them.
Yeah.
He liked to use those. Yeah, they felt good.
Your dad and my dad aren't the same person, right?
My dad was ex-Navy. He was a Navy, like Navy SEAL person, whatever they were back then.
Not the same.
And he had PTSD, and he was really fucked up in the head, and I didn't even know that until recently because I never got to know him. And my mom kicked him out when I was 8, so I never got that older perspective on dad. You know what I mean? And all the older kids were like, "Oh, when dad was in the Navy, he was cool, and then when he got out, man, he was totally different because he became an alcoholic. He didn't have the Navy to structure him anymore, and he became a piece of shit." And that's the dad I met. So I missed all the good shit,
Got it.
So so I just never had a relationship with him. So the only reason I got upset when he died, I literally stood in my living room and said, "Fuck you. You took my chance away of ever having a fucking father." And I cried for about, like I said, 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever. And then I was like, "All right, I'm done." And my brother just looked at me and he's like, "Wow." And I said, "That's how I feel. I'm done."
How old were you at the time when he died?
I was 34.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I mean, the only time he called me from the time I saw him last when I was 17, he called 3 times, and 2 of them were to ask me to wish him a happy birthday. And he got my phone number off my sister, and I was like, "Don't give him my phone number." And she was like, "Well, he wanted to talk to you." I'm like, "I don't give a fuck. Quit giving him my phone number." So then I was staying at my sister's house when I got pregnant for my kid. And so I had her, and I would go over to my sister's house all the time and spend time there. My other sister, the one that keeps blabbing her mouth, her name's Wendy, and we call her Windy, Windy, because she never, even when we were kids, if you told her something, you'd have to say, "Don't tell anyone." If you didn't say it specifically and get her attention, she'd just tell everybody everything.
You also call her Cindy Brady?
Yeah, but the oldest in the family instead.
Okay.
Oldest of everybody. Anyway, so she told my dad my sister's number where I was. So he calls and he's like, "Oh, I heard I have a granddaughter." And my sister, who I'm staying with at the time, she's out here about to pop out. I mean, my baby was like 3 weeks old, you know? And somehow somebody told him and he found out. I don't fucking know who. And so he called and he wanted to talk to me. I was like, "Hello?" And he's like, "Oh, I have a granddaughter." And I was like, "Yep." And he was like, "Oh, what's her name?" And I said, "Ashley." And he's like, "Oh, that's a pretty name." I said, "Yep." "Okay, I'll give you back to Susan now." And I handed him back to my sister.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like, we did not, like, he would call and go, "Wish me a happy birthday." "Oh my God, what are you, 5? Happy birthday, Dad. I love you. Yeah. Yeah, I love you too.
Obligatory love. Send it my way.
He was horrible, man. He stole my one of my brother's social security numbers. The one that was named after him, he stole his social security number to avoid the IRS. And then he ended up dying in Tijuana, Mexico, living with an 18-year-old Spanish chick.
Holy shit.
And he was like 60 or something.
Dang.
No, I was thinking, I remember Shannon Q did a, maybe about a couple years ago, she did an episode on, like, forced forgiveness, and it was talking about, like, things that Spackle was saying where...
Oh, it drives me wild.
Yeah, it, like, that... I preach forgiveness.
Jenny, I'm sorry, I have to mute you while you're not speaking because it's that crunching sounds really loud, okay? So, thank you. Go ahead, Maya, I'm sorry.
I preach forgiveness, but I think it's like a different type of forgiveness. For me, it's more of a forgiveness is more of a letting go, and it's more for you. I say to people all the time, like, if, you know, let's say I'm mad at B, and like B's going to be like, "Oh, well, I guess I have to stay away from Maya." And she goes off, lives her best life. And I'm over here just like stewing and, you know, ruining like my whole mental health. Like I'm plotting her death.
Oh yeah.
And
ruminating.
she's over there and living it up. You know, like it does nothing for you to be mad at somebody.
They don't care.
They don't care. I promise you they don't. Like, even if they know they don't, most people.
I agree with that. Like that, and that's how I think of like forgiveness in that way makes sense.
Right.
And I think
where
that's
it's
healthy.
just like letting it go. I don't believe that forgiveness is saying it's okay to do this to me again. I think that with people, you need to warm up to them, learn their limitations. What can they do? What can't they do? And work within those parameters. So if somebody hurts me, it's like, all right, gotcha. I know what I can or can't do with you. And there's no reason to like hold a grudge. It's just, I can't trust somebody with this information or, you know, with my man or, you know, what, I mean, I probably wouldn't.
I'm sorry.
But
you can trust me with your man.
I could.
We'll be buddies.
No, you would. I was saying that to him once. I was just like, no, I would love for you to meet B like in person, and you guys could just fuck off at the Home Depot, and you could.
Oh my God, I love the Home Depot.
No, I know. I was like, here, please take my man. Go to the Home Depot.
Take him out, man. Go buy some wood with him.
Yeah, I don't want to hear about it anymore. But you know, not all people are as great as you are, right?
Oh, whatever. I am not great. I am not great.
B.
No.
B.
Negative, but, Maya. I'm just a regular person who sees things a little differently than a lot of people.
You are an amazing person, and goddamn it, you're worth it.
Oh, thanks, sunshine. Love you too.
You get.
Tell me when you get sick of that man.
However, I mean, I think that, you know, I think letting things go and keeping people understanding it's just who people are. If somebody can't be trusted with something, it's like, you know, I wouldn't ask my 5-year-old to drive to the store and, you know, give them a grocery list. It's not because like the 5-year-old, like, you know, it's not something intentional the 5-year-old is doing to me. It's just like the limitations of the 5-year-old. Some 40-year-olds are 5-year-olds mentally. And like, you can't trust them with all the things. And, you know, like it makes no sense to be mad at them. Like, just, you know, it's like, all right, my bad. And
I don't think mad's a bad emotion though. Like that's another thing. Like, but staying mad can be bad. That's
I'm talking specifically about holding a grudge.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
this is what I always preach. This is my preach, right? I see somebody that's mad and they're upset about somebody else. They tell me the situation, and it's obvious that they're the only one mad in this situation, the only one that got hurt. And so I say, what do you think that person's doing right now? What do you mean? Do you think that they're like sitting there talking to their best friend mad about you? No, they probably don't even care. Then why are you you're not hurting them right now? No. Well, then you're hurting yourself. And the only reason that person like really made you mad, and this is the hardest part of it, the only reason that person really made you mad is because you let them.
Yeah.
That is the bottom fucking line. That's why people don't make me mad anymore. It takes a lot to piss me off. Like, we're disrespect. That's my number one. You disrespect somebody around me that I care about, friends, whatever, me, I'm going to get mad. But I don't get like offended and butt hurt anymore. I get angry for a little bit. I bitch about it, and then I kick it behind me and I leave it behind me, because the bottom line is you're only hurting yourself and you're giving those people power over you. Take your fucking power back and make it your own, and fuck them. Because anybody that's treating you like shit like that doesn't deserve your attention anyways. Fuck them. Move on with your life. Be mad. Get it out of your system. Move on. It's the healthiest thing to do. So anyways, I'm done ranting. That's my rant.
No, I agree with you 100%. But, and then the forgiveness part, though, it's like what you were saying. Forgiveness is not letting the person in a position to do the same thing again. You can let things go, which is essentially what I'm calling forgiveness, and still know that they can't be trusted, with whatever the thing was, whether it's information or, they wrecked my car and, now I got to pay for all this. Okay, well, they're a bad driver. You get a new car, they don't get to
You
drive
still can
anymore.
have your boundary, basically, and whatever that might be. The person could be, the person could be so bad that they might have to be cut out. Like that, that is a possibility. Right?
I did it with my brother.
Yeah.
He's toxic.
Family.
He's toxic to me. He's mentally abusive to me. He's never been kind. He's always asked for things. He's never like ever given of himself. And I thought back to what my sister said, the one that passed away. She said to me, every relationship in your life, whether it's sexual, whether it's love, whether it's friendship, whether it's someone you work with at work, every friendship, every relationship that's important to you should be the ones where everybody gives and takes. You should be getting something while you're giving it. Yes. And if that's not happening, then it's not a relationship. It's a one-sided, you're giving to someone that doesn't give a shit.
Right.
So it dawned on me years later, after she had passed away, I went, oh, I'm done.
Yeah.
It just hit me one day in 2015. I'm done with him. And I called the whole family and said, I am blocking him. I want nothing to do with him. If he comes to a family reunion, that's fine. He's your brother still. I totally respect that. Just let me know and I won't be there. I want no contact with him.
Right.
And they were like, oh, you shouldn't. He's blood. Bleh. And then I started telling him all the shit he did to me when I was a kid. Fucking with my head over and over again. Beating me up and fucking with my head.
Right. And
I said, he's toxic. I want nothing. He tried to pit me and my nephew against each other. This is what started the whole thing.
What, for
in 2015, we all went camping, and me and my nephew got in an argument. We shared a townhouse. He didn't want to live by himself. He wasn't used to his mother not being alive, and he had to get out of the situation he was in. So he and I got together with one of his friends. We got a really nice townhouse, and we were all living there. And so once in a while we fought, because you do, and we worked together too. So, we're going to fight sometimes. He stuck his nose in the middle of it and lied to each one of us about what the other one said. And when we figured it out, we got up the next morning and packed up everything and we left.
Yeah.
And he said, give me a hug. And I was like, I'm not in the mood right now. And he came over to hug me. And I said to him, he was like, oh, no. And he's telling me what to do with my business. And he's a fucking loser that barely ever works. And I'm like, what the fuck are you even saying to me right now? And so I said, I'm done. And he said, oh, yeah, blah, blah, blah. It'll be all right. Just, blah, blah, blah. And I said, and I stopped and I held him close to me in his ear. And I said, I'm done. And I walked away and I have not spoke to him since. So if I ever say that to somebody, just know that I'm never speaking to them again. Because I mean it.
I mean sometimes you have to make that hard call, right? And what I found always fascinating is this demand of like, no, you need to like roll out the red carpet, open the door, and let them like come at you again. I'm like, no, it doesn't work that way. Well, we're related. That's your father.
Yeah.
Well, fuck it. I don't care.
Yeah, I've had family, just like you saying. Well, like my sister is a drug addict, which is different because like her brain just doesn't work like normal people's. But like she can't be around like my things, and I don't trust.
You have to do boundaries, right?
And right, like I don't trust a thing that comes out of her mouth. So it's like, what kind of relationship can we really have? I don't hate her.
Right.
I love her to death. I want her to be well, but I have no control over any of those things, and I have to protect me and my family, which means that she can't be in my life. And, you know, I would love for her to be, but she can't. These are choices that she made. And I'm just reacting. And again, there's no animosity. Like if she would turn herself around, I'd welcome her with open arms. But, you know, this is where we are. And I think that, you know, there are situations, you know, even with someone with a fully functional brain that, you know, you're in the same place, you know, just like what B said, it's like people sometimes are just toxic for whatever reason.
And there's a lot of reasons why people are toxic, right? Yeah. So like I'm sure mental illness played a role in my father, like for sure. Right. Absolutely. You know, and you know, I can and thinking about it from that lens helps me to understand that it's not all about me that's on the reciprocation of adults or, you know, abuse. It has to do with whatever's in his brain. And so like it helps me let go, like you're saying. So the idea of letting go and stuff, like I'm not somebody that fantasizes over revenge like some people do. I think that I'm uncomfortable when people fantasize over revenge or like, you know, like haha, you know, like that's weird stuff to me. but then the demand of like from evangelicals saying like, you know, this person's this title and therefore they're entitled to your heart, your adoration, your time, and like no, they're fucking not.
And that's really the key, what you just said.
Right.
You know, if you're in a relationship where things are going bad, you need to sit down and write down the pros and cons and think about it. Like I've done it. When I used to fight with my husband when we were married before he became my ex, we would sit down. I said, okay, this is what we're gonna do because we're gonna go everybody go smoke a cigarette and take a chill pill. And then I'll meet you in the kitchen in 5 minutes. And I brought 2 pieces of paper and 2 pencils in. I said, I want you to write down everything that makes you angry about me and everything that you love about me. And he just looked at me. I said, just do it. So he was like, fine, whatever, because he's pissed at me at this point. So he sits there and writes it down. By the time he's done writing everything down, he's pretty calm. We're both calmed down, you know. So it was kind of cathartic to sit there and write stuff, right? And I said, okay, now you tell me the bad list. And so we told each other the bad list and we talked about it and we argued a little bit about it. We talked about it and came to some understandings. And then we told each other the good list. This is what I appreciate about you. And it was the most productive fight I've ever had in my life. And we did that from there on out.
Everybody.
We did that from there on out. Every time we got in a fight, we sat down and we would write down the pros and cons. And it really worked. And I don't even remember who said that to me or where. I think I got it because my sister used to say, always think about what you're about to do. And if you ever go, I can't make a decision, sit down and write down the pros and cons. Well, and unfortunately, that's what did him in though, because I wrote down the pros and cons of staying in the closet or being myself. And I left him and broke his heart, which I didn't mean to do, but I had to take care of me.
No, so, and I mean, keeping people at a distance, and especially with like any of the religions, they don't really speak to like your mental health at all. And they're, you know, for the most part, they're like just self-help books, but like it's like these series of acts that are out of line with like human behavior, and they end up just driving you crazy in the end. Just letting a toxic person in your life, like most rational people would just be like, what the fuck? But, you know, you get involved in like a religion, it's just like, oh, you have to forgive.
Oh, like imagine, like, I mean, don't even imagine, like Catholic Church doesn't allow divorce for certain reasons, right? So you're allowed to divorce if someone commits adultery, and you're allowed to divorce if like in rare circumstances, but like if your spouse is abusing you, the Catholic Church will not allow you to divorce.
I've heard
You're
that.
stuck with that person. They'll say we'll allow you to separate. You can live separately, but you can't divorce. You're forever stuck with this person.
When my parents got divorced, our priest at our Catholic church, who was friends with my mom, because we had a very small. There was only like, I don't know, 50 people. We all knew each other. We all lived down the road. We were all farmers and shit. And him and my mom were friends. And he went up to her and said, "Look, I heard about it." And she's like, "Yeah." And he said, "And you're always welcome in this church. We're not going to be like that. You know, we love your family and we love you guys."
That's
and
really
so,
good to hear.
So that's the only reason I was even attracted to the church at all, because all at school I was getting was, your parents are divorced. Like literally, because nobody's parents
the
did
Scarlet Letter.
Yeah, it was 1979. You just didn't do that then in some societies. And we were in an all-white area where you just didn't do that shit. You know, there was like 4 black families in town 35 minutes from where I lived. Like, that's all it was. And it was just a bunch of freaking white people that went to church every Sunday, you know? Yeah. So you just didn't do that shit. And they finally quit like a year later, but all that year, they got divorced in the summer, and that entire year, that's all I fucking heard.
Oh, hi, Nathaniel.
Oh, yeah. Hi, Nathaniel. I just left Julie's comment up there because it was appropriate for what we were talking about. That
Julie's comments are always appropriate.
Can't have toxic without ox in the middle of it. That's right, baby. Aw, Julie's on her phone and missed the whole damn thing.
Is that steak? What are we eating? I saw food.
It's more pot roast because I made a lot.
Oh, bro. You know what I ate today? I have to tell you guys. So I went over
Ben is always chowing down.
I know, right?
Now I'm hungry.
Well, I make a mess, so I don't want to eat on camera, really. I'm kind of sloppy sometimes. I'm just like a dude. I just make a mess. But anyways, so I went over to my boss's / friend's house over to Heather's and cut some bottoms off of some doors because she had new flooring put in on top of the concrete, like tile stuff that was in her house, which was in good condition. She just didn't like it. So she put wood throughout the entire place. So it raised the height of the floor. So I went over there and cut the bottoms off of all her kids, both her kids' closet doors for her. And she was like, "Okay, I'm going to bring some money to work tomorrow." And I said, "No, you're not. You're not paying me. You know, that's ridiculous." I said, "I don't charge friends and family." And she said, "Fine, I'll bring lunch." And I said, "Deal." So she brings it over and people were buying lunches for us. So I was like, I didn't even get a chance to eat it yet. So I brought it home tonight and I threw it in my air fryer and heated it up. Oh, it's so good. And she gave me enough for like a whole nother, I have like a pile of food in there and it's steak. And she said it was some meat and potatoes. No, it's steak and it's really fucking good. And it's like made perfectly. Oh, fuck me, man. I just kept like texting her and ranting about it. So that's what I had right before I came on. It was really good. Grilled peppers with onions, grilled steak.
Gosh, I'm hungry now.
Sorry. Homemade mashed potatoes that were rocking. I mean, they were like the best mashed potatoes I've had in years.
I have this weird love affair with mashed potatoes. It could be the Irish in me. I don't know. But any potatoes, really. You can present any potato and I'll be like, oh my God.
It Ben's mukbang at Old Time Barbershop.
I think Nathaniel would look awesome in a bowler cap with the way his stash is.
Oh.
Hey,
Jenny, I was like, where'd she go?
I thought I had a lot of pop characters, but then I saw Nathaniel.
Yeah, we have a few. Let me see.
What are you up to, like 1,100 or something now?
I don't know. I see a whole wall of them.
High.
978?
According to... Actually, let me see. 1 second. I can do this. See if I can do that right there. And there you go. Here, I can share this. Right? You can see that. I can share that with you.
Don't get me kicked off of YouTube.
No, I'm not. There you go.
No,
there you go. Kidding. It's a little more than 1,000 actually. So that's how many that we have. Just over 1,000 now.
Wow.
That was yesterday before I put on like we got like some, I don't know, some Star Wars and some like Letterkenny pre-orders coming through. But yep, and like all these are like our photos and stuff. So that Michael Jordan is legit. So yeah. There you go.
It's pretty amazing though. It's good shit.
Let's see if I can stop.
It's a hell of a collection.
But I was thinking earlier, and I don't know if any of you have ever like, and Maya, I didn't know you had any, heard any of the stories that I've told about a bat snapping his fingers and changing the universe.
What? Oh my god!
I think it was more of a visual thing.
What?
He held up a Lego Batman cowl and then a Lego Thanos gauntlet.
First off, it's the Infinity Gauntlet, okay? And Tony Stark is the one that snaps it properly.
Yeah.
Let's make sure we get our shit straight here, our timelines correct, if we will.
Also, like we're talking about DC versus Marvel. I'm so confused. What's happening?
That's why it's funny.
That's why it was weird. Yeah.
Okay. I was stuck on it because I was like DC Marvel. Can't get past this.
I don't. I'm also making I'm putting together a Viper droid from Empire right now. So
Are we having a Marvel DC debate?
Marvel.
Now we've gotten into Star Wars.
Oh, it's all. But yeah, you're right. Behind me here. How many are back there, Susan? You think on the wall? Yeah, a few hundred. I think there's probably just over 200 back there, I think.
God.
So, and then there's like a couple over there.
Okay,
so,
let me see if you have the ones that I have. I can't put it on screen right now, but I have the Doc from Back to the Future.
Oh, which one? That's important. There's a few.
Oh, there's multiple ones. I didn't know that. See, I didn't even know. I have the Rocketeer. Oh.
Go on.
Oh, you don't have the Rocketeer.
No.
That's one of my favorite comic books
looking
ever.
for it though.
Okay. I have I have both Starbucks from Battlestar Galactica. You know, Starbuck the new one and Starbuck the old one.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's it. I don't think I have like much more. I'm trying to think because like they're in boxes right now.
We have that is really cool. I want to see the Rocketeer one at some point. Because we have actually, I think it's my pinned tweet. We have quite a few that a buddy of mine was like, "Hey, I'm not going to collect anymore," and we know that you guys do, and so there's some that there's actually, I mean, I don't know, there's probably a dozen left that we just weren't going to collect, and we're not going to keep them, right? And so we're also not going to sell them because that's not why we collect. And so we actually have it's a link on my page it's on my Twitter. It's like, I think it's pinned, where it's ones that we're giving away. And I don't know, there's probably 12 or 14 of them left. And there's like there's a Star Wars one that's in there. It's a Bosk. It's a 6-inch one, and I think somebody just messaged me a little bit ago. They got the Pride Star Wars Stormtrooper one. And there's some stuff from Destiny in there, some pretty cool ones. So
I lied. I have one more. I have Khaleesi on the dragon.
Really? We got, I think, the Guy on the Throne. One of those. I have to look and see. Those are Susan's that she certainly had those before I came along. Just like she had all the ones from Parks and Rec, and I did end up finding her the couple of them from Little Shop of Horrors that she didn't have yet. And so it's always fun. And one of the main reasons I go on there and look at them is I want to see if I can find something that she doesn't have that I know that she'll really like. And pretty easy to do. There's a lot of them.
Well, that's easy.
Yeah, we kind of joke, and it's like, well, how many do you have? Just over 1,000. Well, how much? It's like, we don't really care about the value at all because we don't collect them for that money or for that much, like for that type of reason. But then it's like, how much? Oh, we could probably buy a car. And we certainly haven't spent that much on them. It's just that sometimes you get some, like this one from Starship Troopers that we got up in Everett at the Funko HQ. We got it for like $20, I think, and the value is like 60.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, wow. You see people will sell them too for like $80. I'm like, look, man, I don't collect them to sell them. Especially if they're Miles Morales. You want those? You can go fight for them.
I got my brother Crow and Tom Serbo. I kind of wish I had gotten them for myself too, but I love Crow particularly.
Yeah, I've always told people, they're like, "Oh, you collect dolls," and first I'm like, "They're vinyl figures." Thank you. But then
they're vinyl.
They are vinyl. They're pop vinyls, and I tell people because it's pop for pop. There's the Twinkie from this is a pop shirt, and it's actually Susan's. It just fits me real well, and I'm bigger than her, but she's got bigger boobs than me, so it fits. And tell people,
really, I never noticed.
I can't not notice, and because this is your Twinkie shirt.
What did she say?
She said, "Why are you talking about my boobs?" Because I like your boobs. What's wrong?
I mean, her name is Skep Tits.
Yeah, I mean, really, seriously.
As was reminded,
like you started that shit, man.
That was Neil. That was Neil, wasn't it? That was Neil that gave that. Yeah.
It sounds about right.
Athey tits. Yeah, she did. But we have found there is a pop for everybody. There are WWE pops for those of you that like fake sports. And
what does pop stand for?
It's just popular culture.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There's stuff like there's Transformers, there's Spider-Man, and then there's Miles Morales. Back to the Future, obviously. Sports like we have like 7 different Michael Jordans. I've
seen a bunch of the Walking Dead ones given away on Talking Dead.
Yeah, we actually got one of those. If you want, Gabriel from The Walking Dead is available. You can just have him if you want him. Like Jurassic Park. Oh, I got this. If you've seen like the huge Galactus that I have, he's sitting here somewhere. Doctor Who. Like just like so much. Like there's a category for everybody, and people are like, you collect dolls, and
why are you giving away your dolls?
Dracarys.
Because the one reason that we are giving away our dolls is, well, not giving away all of them, obviously, or very many of them, as it were, but because we don't like that's not like the Destiny stuff or the Walking Dead, or there's like Tekken. I think a couple of them are not it's not things that we want to collect, and we know that other people are like, yo, Tekken is really cool, want to get that. Well, we want those folks who may not have the opportunity to collect them or may not have the money to do it. We still want them to be able to have access to what we already do. And so we don't sell them, we give them. There's no reason to keep what we don't actually want, and there's no reason to sell that which we like, that we just collect for fun. So
yeah, I don't usually pick up ones that are out of categories that I don't like, but like sports for me is like yawn, but yeah, I hear you. But you're being like cool to people that are in your community, your friend list. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that it's like nobody will ever take my Cthulhu or my Back to the Future, my Jurassic Park. Come and take it type thing. But like these things where we have some, if you saw like on the screen, that are worth, hundreds of dollars. And that's something that we have the opportunity to purchase, that we have that we are in a place to be able to do that. And some of this stuff is like Selena, like the singer who from Corpus Christi, where Susan is from, and is very, very popular. She died back in the 90s.
Murdered him.
And now there are Selena pops, and they are incredibly difficult to find, and they are expensive. Well, we happen to have a few, and we had some. We did. We had some extra ones too. And so what do? We're not going to sell that to somebody. There's a lot of people that are in the parts of communities and stuff, or right now especially, who just don't have the money to buy them. It's like, why would I want to try to sell this to this person when I can just give it to them and they can be happy? And that's like the thinking.
It's awesome, man. It's awesome, man. Yeah. Any showing of love, I love it. That's great. It's It's awesome. I mean, really, if you do have excess, why wouldn't you, unless you need the money to survive or to pay bills or something, then why wouldn't you give it away? I've given away all kinds of stuff in my life. Like, I moved and didn't want the stuff I had, and I was moving in somewhere else. I don't remember if I was moving in. I was moving in with somebody. Instead of selling my stuff, which I easily could have done and made a pretty good penny, I just gave it all away. I knew people that needed stuff. So I just started calling people going, hey, do you need any stuff? Anything? Blah, blah, blah. I'm giving all this stuff away. You can come check it out. And they were like, no, I have more than I need, or my apartment's not big enough. And so finally I called my ex and I said, hey, do you know anybody? And she said, well, I have a friend whose husband just got totally smashed drunk and threw everything out in the back lawn and lit it on fire. He's in jail and she has nothing.
Oh, wow.
So I said, fine, get a U-Haul and come pick it up. I'll help you load it up. And that's what we did. I helped her load it all up and she took it. And that woman with her 3 kids had a couch and a bed and stuff. So worked out fine.
It's very anti-capitalist of you too. I thought you were Americans.
I know. Fuck, I'll try to be more patriotic next stream.
Just hate America.
Fucking yeah, man. It's fucking... No, I don't hate America. I love my fellow man. And that includes women too. It's just an expression.
Oh, that's good. You don't live in Texas then.
Fuck no.
They
No
hate
desire.
even in Texas.
Yeah, Texas. I don't know what's going on in Texas. I say we tie Texas and Florida up and just throw them in the sea.
Texas is starting to turn, like in Dallas, obviously Austin.
No, every time I look at Texas, it makes my stomach turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, but slowly, as more Californians are getting shoved out of my state because we can't afford to live, including myself, you'll find that there's some that are trickling into Texas and suddenly changing the voting just a little bit at a time.
Apparently, poor people don't have the right to live.
Apparently not.
Or women.
That is a problem even in left states, though, like big time.
Not Oregon. Boy, people come here from all over the country to have an abortion.
It's a left state thing. You can't live in any state on minimum wage, and
I just mean cost of living just
no
abhorrent.
for everyone. No, actually, right now the millennials are having a hard time buying a house. Like every state, well, say every state, but most states.
I can't buy a house.
Are having a hard time buying a house.
Yeah, I don't own a house.
Ownership. First time ownership is low 30s now.
I just want to say, Texans love women. I mean, they get food, they get laid. Anyways, on a serious note, though, enough sarcasm. Ollie's got to go. So, Ollie, thanks for coming by, buddy. I appreciate you. And have a good night, okay?
I'll talk to you all later. Have a good night.
Good night.
Bye, bud.
Please don't snap your fingers. I didn't do anything.
I don't know. I'm worried about Texas just because, Texas turns blue. The Republicans know they're fucked. So, we just saw the bill that just passed. We just saw the first draft of, the next round of Jim Crow laws. I don't know. I can see them fighting for that tooth and nail.
Are you talking about the voting ID stuff or something different? Am I missing something?
Yeah, wait, Nathaniel, you would know. Did the governor sign the voting thing? I know it went to his desk yesterday.
Yes. And that's the one where, pardon me, it bans abortion in the state. And it passed 6 weeks. And if you if you either know it is happening or know somebody is driving somebody to get an abortion or know that a doctor is doing it or a woman is going to have an abortion, you can turn them into the police and you'll get $10,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's snitching.
Yeah. No, you don't have to have stand-in. You don't have to be aggrieved at all. You just have to know it happened.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. Now, mind you, $10,000 for every single one of those. Man, it's almost like we could help poor people. I don't know.
For real, though.
Can you imagine?
And these are the same people that are like, but what about the budget?
There's going to be some weirdo, can you imagine? Okay, there's going to be some, fake like how they have the pregnancy care centers, and then they'll be like, no, but I must have an abortion, and then they'll go run and tattle, and there'll be a whole business of tattling on people because they know those people are going to run and do abortions.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, wait, what happened? Jolie said something happened in Tennessee. When did that happen?
Yeah, the 6-week abortion ban is in Tennessee. It passed in Tennessee. I don't think that it went into effect yet. I don't remember, but the Texas one was yesterday or today actually.
It's disgusting.
Today, yeah.
And here's the thing.
I didn't know. I thought Tennessee tried and failed.
Pretty well every state in the South. Texas hasn't actually won yet. The Supreme Court simply hasn't taken it up. They chose not to. It came into effect today, so there was an emergency stay based on some things but they're not. It didn't actually invalidate the law. So SCOTUS hasn't actually heard it yet.
Right. No,
or
Tennessee,
will they?
Yeah, she's right. It did pass, but there's is it in a stay state right now? Like they can't enact it because it's making its way through the courts.
I have Tennessee's. I have to look and see again. There was so much today already. But
yeah, I haven't. Yeah, the thing I'm looking at was in April, and it had gone to an appeals court.
Oh, okay. As with a lot of these things like voting rights, laws and things like that, and voting, integrity they're unnecessary, obviously, but they also know who they affect the most. These folks
Black women.
Do this,
Poor Black women.
Yep. Not just minorities, but in particular, Black women. So the voting rights, maybe air quotes that, affects minorities, but specifically Black people more than anybody else on purpose. Yeah. And these types of things.
And then Texas also Hispanics.
Yep. And they are also, white people in Texas are scared. They're scared of the brown people. And the reason for that is because the next couple of years, Hispanics or Latin Americans will be the majority minority.
Yeah. And so, Texas is going to see that before any other state.
Oh, they're going to see it maybe next year.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think we make it to 2030 before Texas is majority Hispanic.
What's weird though is so Latin voters and Hispanic voters aren't a shoo-in for left people pretend like they are, because they can go right, especially if they're Catholic.
They can, and that's been a big debate because the right has been so hell-bent on marginalizing them and using them as a punching bag, but they want to be Republicans. So, they're really missing out on a huge demographic there. It's going to come to a point where they're going to need to choose them over the evangelicals.
Probably.
Yeah, the way that this has worked, and people are like, oh, yeah, let's go down to Miami, right? And if you're a Democrat or I'm not. But if you're a Democrat and you're looking for voters, you go, okay, cool. Well, Miami's going to be fine because Miami-Dade has an enormous Cuban population. So we're just we'll just get that. What they don't understand or fail to understand, how are Republicans so much better at the internet? Anyways, that the Cuban population that has moved in remembers communists that were dictators in Cuba. And they go down there, and Republicans have an enormous presence in Miami and in Miami-Dade. And
Lady
guess what?
It's gotta be Phoebe.
No.
Phoebe.
They spread that propaganda in, you're gonna get socialism, you're gonna get communism with Democrats, and so that's why in South Florida, you have your Cuban Americans who vote overwhelmingly Republican, and Democrats are like, I don't know why.
Which is stupid. Democrats are just laughably bad at messaging. Everybody in Florida knew that the Hispanic population, they were pushing communists and socialists, Biden is socialist, propaganda. Just all across the state, everybody there knew. And I'm like, do you not have any Democrats at all on the ground there? How did nobody see this coming? I heard about it before the election. And, meanwhile, on the Hill, everybody's just like, oh no, we got a bunch of, Cubans and, like it'll be fine. And I'm like,
it's totally not fine.
Everybody in Florida is like, forget about us. We're gone. Like, we are a red state. We're not a swing state anymore. Just leave us alone. And I'm like, how could you have been that wrong? Like, how do you not know? Like, I'm just from Twitter. I saw it.
Yeah.
How do you not know this?
Almost 4 years ago, I worked on a campaign in Texas, a U.S. Senate campaign, and we got within 2 points of beating Ted Cruz.
Is this the Beto O'Rourke case? Was this the Beto O'Rourke run?
3 years ago. I don't know what Lady in Bed just said, but we got within 2 points of a race that Ted Cruz won by 40 6 years prior. And now it helped that we had the person that your mom wants to leave her husband for as the candidate, because Beto O'Rourke is a goddamn good-looking person.
Yeah, isn't he like the new Adonis? I don't get it, but like soccer moms fucking love him.
Yeah, it's like, and so the house divided was like every fucking door I'd knock on in Dallas, Fort Worth. Like the husband, because in Texas pretty much have to be. The husband had no idea that his white wife was voting for Beto. And night, Julie. That happened a lot. I think I split up a lot of marriages. And
you split a lot of tickets.
Could have for sure. Because like, what? Hold on. We're a Republican. Sir, it turns out your wife has voted in the past 3 elections and she's on the Democratic voter roll. Oh, honey. Oh, sir, that's a suitcase. She's out of here. Bye.
Political parties causing divorces since 1929. Anyways, I couldn't help it. I had to.
In Texas, the Hispanic vote in Texas mattered. And it's not like it is in Miami, because you can't go and sell socialism to folks that live on the border in Texas to Hispanic voters. They just came here from Guatemala, or they've lived their entire lives, right? Also that, but their families came here from Mexico. They came here from South America. They came here from Central America. And you can't sell that kind of a thing, because they want to come here because of sometimes what we did to their families a lot of the time, really a lot in Central America. And it's like, you can't sell, you want to live in a dictatorial society to somebody who sees ICE coming down the road and understanding that it's our government doing that shit. And so what we were able to do in 2018 was finally get into those families of people who don't vote, because they're scared that if they vote that ICE is going to come and deport them and their families. By the way, that's a big thing.
Yes,
and it really disgusting. That's really disgusting and disturbing.
Yeah, welcome to America. It's like what we do. And
well, I'm in Britain, so yeah. We ain't much better.
You know, when I did the census, I worked as a census worker in 2010, and the fear of folks when I knock on their door, and I'm representing a government entity, right? And every Hispanic, well, not every Hispanic, a lot of the Hispanic households that I would interact with were like very hesitant, or they were afraid to answer any questions. And I felt just horrible, like absolutely horrible, because I was like, I can completely understand why you wouldn't want to answer any questions from the government. I get it. Yeah. And then like, in the area that I was in, like a lot of Hispanics, a lot of Middle Easterners, Middle Eastern folks, no problem. They weren't afraid, but Hispanic folks, a lot of them, there was a big fear, and some of them refused to answer. And I get it. I understand, but like, it's a weird thing to think that we have folks that are living here that are just constantly in fear that someone's going to bust down their door and cart them off to a country. You have to understand that there was somebody that went to my church that was in my youth group when I used to work. I used to work in church, not anymore. I was a youth director, and one of my kids as soon as she hit 18, was carted off and dumped into Mexico. She was allowed to live in the United States her whole fucking life. And got picked up by ICE and dumped into Mexico. She barely spoke Spanish.
Yep. That's what our country is good at.
It's a piece of shit, Rand. Like, it just makes me angry.
We were able, because I spoke to people, and I got a photo of with a family that was so kind to me. They've been here since 1974, a husband and wife. And you're right, by the way, that Hispanic Catholic, most Hispanics are Catholic, at least in social. They're not many in metropolitan areas are like religiously Catholic. They're simply socially Catholic. But have been here since 1974. The wife is a citizen. The husband is not yet, because of how much it costs. And he has a green card, so he works, and they have a daughter, and she was 18 in 2018, and so her first opportunity to vote, and her mom, who's been here since 1974, had never voted before because she was scared, and because she didn't want them to deport her husband. And she said that I have this is like my like the moment where things kind of click for you. And I have this photo. I'm so happy I got a photo with them. This is the first time she was voting because she believed that what she was doing mattered and that somebody actually cared. And also that she no longer wanted to have to choose between food and medicine. And I was like, oh my God, this is something I never have to even think about. Now, mind you, I did have to later, as it turned out, but like that was it, where it's like I have to overcome fear because I don't want to die, because that's the type of society that I live in. So where if I'm not a white person, or especially a white guy, that my entire world could be just taken from me. And it was like, I just thought that I was getting people to vote. Like and that's the life that so many people that don't look like me and don't have the same genitals that I do live. And I'm like, I'm never ever gonna stop and fuck everybody that tries to get in the way. Like there's you can't stop me from helping to get other people fucking rights.
Yeah. How dare you? How dare you?
You bastard. Right. That's it. I'm kicking you out of here for being that nice. We have a nice limit here.
Right.
Oh. No, you're right, Ox. Christianity is there's definitely something wrong there, man. There's the typical like Christian person. I just don't. And I'm not talking about people that are like more progressive or, they kind of believe on the side, but they're still reasonable about this stuff. I know the people that are like, science is fake, like those Christians. I just don't. I mean,
you can
it's
be
definitely
Mr.
not
Rogers
natural.
And a Christian.
It's brainwashing.
You could be Mr. Rogers and a Christian, right? Or you could be fucking Franklin Graham and be a Christian. And let's talk about what a wrecking ball Franklin Graham is, especially politically. Son of a bitch.
All those bigwig Christian guys are just fucking ridiculous,
man. But
just blows my mind how they. You know where my sister used to work? She used to work at the corporation building for I just had his name. Shit. He was an evangelist back in the day. Short fucking dude. What was his? God, I just had his name. I'll think of it again in a minute.
Mac the Human has a good comment for you there, Nathaniel.
What?
Hi, Mac. Pat Robertson.
Oh, God.
Oh, gosh.
She worked in his office thinking, oh, good, I'll get to work around Christians. She goes, those people are horrible. They're disrespectful. They're rude. He is a total, complete asshole. And I was like, because my sister didn't cuss, I was like, damn asshole, huh? She's like, I don't give a shit. And I was like, oh, fuck. Damn, she is mad. Like because my sister is really the definition of what you'd want in a Christian. Like she tries not to judge. She's honest. She's kind. She's giving. She's caring. She'll feed you. She's a really good person. She works in the city she lives in. She works there, volunteer to help the youth that have like drug problems and stuff. Like she volunteers to try to guide them in a better direction.
It all depends on what the Christian values, right?
She is like, but if you say what they think they are, that I am all of this and a box of crackers, like my sister's the closest I've ever met, besides my brother. Like literally, they are the only two people I know that are totally like Bible thumping Christians, but they really live by the good side of the fence. They don't sway into traffic. Anyways, go ahead, whoever.
Yeah, and I do want to make sure that what do you call it? I don't want to, well, at least I don't want to appear like I'm Christian bashing because Spackle is Christian.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about all of them. I wouldn't.
No,
say that.
Yeah, that's my slap against you. And okay. I've said this to Spackle a few times. Like a lot of people I understand live like in the Bible Belt or in very rural areas where all they see is this like hateful Christian. But living in a very blue state, like Spackle is the type of Christian, that my family is, that, I work with. And they're just people who like I go to work and actually my job is very like a lot of African and Jamaican. So they'll be like, I hope you have a blessed day. And, all these, it's like, well, I'm a little stressed out, but I'm hanging in there and Jesus will get me through. It's not a push on you. It's just, I'm using this to lift myself up. This is, what keeps me going. And they never, ever like push it on other people. It's just kind of an expression of, who they are, their thoughts, whatever. And I smile and nod and walk away. Nobody's ever asked me what church I go to or,
I think
whatever.
there's a lot of pressure to be evangelical in some circles, right? And that evangelicalness is very aggressive, and like it's basically Christianity largely has either a history of assimilating more people through violence, which I'm sorry, but that's the truth of it, or assimilating people through pressure. Of proselytizing, right? There are religions that don't do that. It's just for Christianity, it's become embedded for quite some time.
Again, like you see it mostly in the Bible Belt, and these are also along the states that are ranked the lowest in education, so there's no critical thought. So there's a lot of followers, and this is what we do. And if you don't think like me, you're hard shunned. If not like outright persecution. So, I mean, it's just a completely different culture.
Well, I would like to point out, I'm on this borderline of theist and deist right now, to be honest. But like I did work in church for 15 years. I have been more conservative in the past, but I would largely say that's due to my naivety. I was homeschooled, and like breaking out as an adult and kind of breaking down these thought processes took a lot of time. And I just want to say I'm a walking understanding that people can change. Not everybody that is indoctrinated into really deep conservative evangelical thinking has to stay there. And not everybody has to make this big jump to atheist.
Yeah.
Necessarily either.
And it's not going to happen in one conversation.
No.
But also, Dr. Josh is another one. He says he was really, strong evangelical, was preacher, pastor, whatever he was, and he was swayed by logic.
His wife.
So, I'm sorry.
His wife.
She's still Christian.
Yeah, she's one of those people who just have their common sense destroyed and is weak-minded, apparently.
Yeah.
I guess that was me too. When I was a youth pastor, I was weak-minded, had no common sense. I don't know. I don't really know. I don't get the fucking comment.
Wait, what are you talking about?
He gets a lot of shit on Twitter.
Well, I also get it here in the comment section.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Christianity is a cancer. It attacks and destroys common sense and misguides weak-minded people. Sorry, bruh. That ain't me.
So I can tell you the appeal to Christianity from someone like me, like after the indoctrination and stuff like that, and then kind of trying to struggle it for you. And the appeal for me was purpose and meaning, particularly. If I was to wield it down, and every time I talk to a theist that is not extreme, a lot of times we can just hammer it down to purpose and meaning in life, and I know that you can find purpose and meaning in life in other ways, but like for some folks that is I guess it scratches a itch there. But I would say that like you can believe a lot of things that seem logical, and then with more information you can change. So for instance, I believed in young earth creationism, but I was also indoctrinated into it. I was a homeschooled kid. I was like, that was science presented to me. And with more information presented at 27 years old, guess what? I accepted evolution. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you lack common sense. It's just that you were indoctrinated into something that,
And that's every Christian, I mean, I hate the term worldview, and it's probably just because I watched too many Darth Dawkins videos. But I mean, when your whole foundation is like on this bed of like a God, where you're talking about like, and even like from being a Christian and to a non-Christian, I had no idea like how like ingrained Christianity was into like every single thought process. And then you're just like trying to like, I mean, it's like pulling strands of hair out of someone's head. It's insane.
Yeah. And before you like demonize people that are like working in clergy, well, like the things that I went through, like working in clergy, like doing life with people is actually quite hard, and clergy does that. So you are at people's bedside when they're sobbing and they're saying, my wife just died and she was my rock, and now they're put in a home because their kids can't take care of them and they're elderly. You have to sit by them and hold their hand. And also like there was a murder suicide. One of our congregants was killed with a gun. Go figure. We had to hold the kids while their biological dad had to talk to him, and the 12-year-old understands everything that's going on. 3-year-old is in my arms asking, I don't understand why I can't see mom, over and over again.
Right.
You tell me really quick how easy it is to work in clergy and to go and do life with people, just to be that person that holds somebody's hand. You know, it's hard. It is really, really hard. And there's a place for it. There is. It's just, unfortunately, there's also a place where people torture people with dogma and mind control and other things.
Ox, what did you do?
I think he wrote the comment about Christianity being a cancer. And, I mean, which I understand.
Well, I mean, everybody's got their own opinion. It's not bad to have an opinion. Just try not to be so rough. That's all. Just gentle down a little bit, dude.
Even just Ox's. I mean, it's like the predominant like thought in the community, really. Again, my experience has been different. I see religion more as a crutch than like a cancer personally. But like there's a lot of people who've had like really bad experiences, and I can understand them coming across as a cancer.
I want to say, like, I understand, like I have experienced spiritual abuse, what I would qualify as spiritual abuse. Absolutely. By far, I could talk about like abuse of LGBTQ folks. in the church. I can talk about
or of the mental health community, like
of mental health, how mental health is a spiritual issue. I can talk
yeah.
about like and I think it's all wrong. And I think I will say this, it is really hard to be a progressive Christian or a Mr. Rogers Christian, like Methodist, Episcopalian, and trying to fix the problems and remain in the church than it is to just jump out of the church and go. Like now I've jumped out of the church and I've stopped going. And it's a lot easier, frankly. It's a lot easier than to try to fix things. Like it is. Like it's an easier place to be in, like in my mind, at least. Oprah is largely new age, if you ask me, and spiritual.
Yeah, I don't. She may identify as Christian just because it's like the American thing to do, and she does want to like turn people away. But she's never really pushed that. And like, yeah, when you start to like watch her Super Soul Sundays, not that I put a lot of stock into them, but like just seeing like the series and what she's trying to do, it looks like she's trying to move people away. I don't know, that was my take on it. Like she's trying to move people away from Christianity, and it's like, hey, look at what this other stuff is out here. Yeah. I'd be really surprised if she was a practicing Christian. All right, my husband.
And fair enough, Fox.
All right. My view is based on over 300 years of having my ancestors' cultures destroyed by Christians. I don't mean no to be offense. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you know, we're all triggered by certain groups.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the bottom line. We all have our shit. We all have our stuff that's happened in our lives where we're like, no, you know, and we give that instant reaction to say, you know, you fucking assholes or whatever. So, I mean, I don't think all Christians are assholes. I've met some really nice people that don't judge me.
I don't want to delegitimize.
Coming to where I work, they're Christians.
Yeah.
They don't care I'm trans. They don't give a shit. They're like, good for you. You know, oh, you look different, you know, or whatever.
No,
so,
I think I said to you, Sparkle, like over a year ago, it's just like, I don't care if you're Christian. I just, you know, just be consistent. Like I want to know, you know, I want to know where I stand with you. And, you know, it's not like this one day and this the other. Like actually, like with Spackle, and there's this other guy I met, his name is Odin, and she kind of remind like talking.
Oh, I know Odin. But Odin's almost a deist too.
He really is. Because I've sat down and I've asked him what he believes, and I'm like, what the hell do you like identify as a Christian? And he was like, I believe in, like, I think what you were saying to me, like the Beatitudes, like the things that are attributed to coming out of Jesus's mouth, like, you know, love one another, forgive, Jesus never ever once said anything about gay people, trans people, like, you know, or I mean, it was, you know, give to the poor, feed your brethren. He healed people. That's like everybody keeps saying, like, that's free Medicaid. You know, it's like he's, you know, almost comrade. I mean, in fact, the people who listened to Jesus and were the closest to him after his death started a fucking commune.
Yeah, the Acts Church. The assholeness comes in St. Paul usually.
Just, Paul, yeah. And, you know, the entire OT. It's a little bit of an asshole.
Yeah, the OT is a lot of war language. My God's bigger than your God. Well, my tribe's going to beat your tribe.
But also, like, Christians don't read the book. They believe whatever the pastor tells them to believe. You know.
But anyway, I don't want to delegitimize whatever Ox is referring to. Like, if you're Black, there's a lot of hard feelings to, well, forced religion on Black folks. And then if you are pagan, there is a credible, like, wipe out, like, anybody that's pagan, boom, you know, Christian, like, they actually called it the burning times at one point, like, just, you know, turn or burn, literally, like, you know, all throughout Europe. So, like, I can't deny that there is historical violence in Christianity, and it's fucking wrong, and it's inexcusable, but, you know.
Right. But yeah, I'm not going to say that any, like, I understand where both men are coming from, and I'm not trying to delegitimize either. Like, and I don't mean to like jump to Ox's defense. Like, I love them both equally, and I understand where Ox is coming from, and I also understand where Nathaniel's coming from, because I've had all these arguments with people, you know, in the chats, and it's just like you got to stop painting all Christians with this brush, and you got to stop attacking every Christian that comes in the goddamn chat. We're outnumbered, so if your goal is to get Christians off your ass, like, maybe you shouldn't act like an ass to them.
Wouldn't that be a good idea?
You know, it could work. I'm just saying.
How many times have I said that, guys? Ben can back me up. How many times have I said it? I'm nice to the trolls that are Christians, and then they just leave.
Yeah.
Well, that's no
I don't
fun.
have to worry about them again. I've gotten trolled like hard, like 2, 3, maybe 3 times in the last year and 8 months, 9 months. Like, that's it.
I don't understand the purpose of it. Like, somebody comes in and they're like,
just,
you know, Jesus
dumpster fire seekers, man. They want to start a fire.
I mean, when they're
bored,
looking,
they want to. They like drama. That's all it is. They're just bored.
But the thing is, like, I mean, they're probably Christian. So if every time a Christian encountered an atheist and an atheist was like a kind human being, it'd be like, wait a minute, why are we persecuting them? They don't drink baby's blood. Like, you know, like.
That's one of the reasons I'm trying to prove them wrong. I'm not going to get mad at them. And honestly, I don't care what they think about me, so I don't get mad at them anyways. I just go, dude, shut up or leave. Yeah. And if they don't shut up, then Ox or somebody kicks them out, and we just move on. You know, so.
Yeah, but like the evangelicals, the biggest issue is like they feel like they're being persecuted. So when you persecute them, you're just giving them more reason to do the thing that you don't want them to do.
So the problem is they take that as an affirmation of their Christianness, even though they could be an asshole, right? Like, like we'll just use G-Man as an example. Everybody probably has run across him on the internet. Like, G-Man's an asshole.
Oh God.
And the reason why people treat G-Man like an asshole is because he acts like an asshole. Like most of us don't walk over to G-Man and go, because you're a Christian or you believe these sets of beliefs, I'm going to be a jerk to you. Most people treat G-Man because like he's an asshole to people. But whenever anybody pushes back on him and is a dick back to him, he'll go, well, I'm being martyred. You know, he does take that. Well, I take this as an affirmation that I'm doing Jesus' work. And they said, if, you know, they hated me and they're going to hate you as well, I'm going to take up my cross. And he's preaching about like what a good Christian he is. And he's affirmed. And it's just like, oh, dang.
Yeah, but like everybody like in that group, like, you know, they believe the same way. You know, it's like I'm being, you know, whether it's like praise or, you know, Jill or even who's that fucker that Knock used to talk to all the time?
Will.
Not Will.
Like Smokey Sane or Will Kincaid.
No, he's like Matt. Was it Matt?
Yes, it's Matt.
Powell.
Oh,
Powell, not Powell. Yeah, he did the same thing.
Powell's atrocious.
Yeah,
like talk
really
about
is.
like hateful.
Nathaniel, are you still there?
Yeah.
Oh,
can you read that?
Yep. Yeah. Hey, no
Thank
worries, Ox. I know you weren't talking about all 4 million Christians in the world.
I'm sorry,
certainly not. Just the weak-minded one.
And I'm going to tell you, first of all, Ox, thanks for manning up and apologizing. Second of all, I know he means it because he always misspells shit unless he's serious, and that is perfectly spelled with all the right punctuation. So he means that. That's honest to God truth. He doesn't care. He just types shit until it means something.
I am beyond sick of toxic atheists. I cannot stand toxic motherfucking atheists. And Ox, I'm not saying that's you. I mean, I hope it's not, but if it is,
well, there's a lot that are, and I know what you mean.
I don't
like that shit either.
I deal with these fuckers every single day. Go check it out from last night. Atheistic_1. Go ahead. 13,000 followers. Toxic as fuck. Christians, when are you gonna learn to accept reality? No, man, shut the fuck up with that nonsense. And all this other bullshit.
You don't have to be a fucking hater.
Like these aren't these and the person that asked that question, that was a response to a question from a Christian who was saying, "Hey, atheists, why aren't you theists?" To turn around and mock that, and to say, "Why don't you accept reality?" What, did I not accept reality whenever I was a Christian? Is that what was going on? I was one of the weak-willed ones, the weak-minded ones, right? That's the thing. When I was a youth pastor, see this is, do we do no self-reflection? Do we not understand that the vast majority of people in America who are atheists were once Christians? Do we not think about ourselves in this? How did you view me when I was a Christian? Are you fucking serious? Like, I cannot deal with this shit. Also, stop giving Matt Bell stuff. He's a grifter. Stop.
Yeah. And I agree with you. There are a lot of, but there's toxicity in every group.
Yeah, I know, but
it's just the way it is. And no, I don't like it either. And if you ask anybody, I want everybody to get along, and I don't hate anybody. Now, are there some Christians out there that I know are in left field? Do I feel bad for them? Yes. Do I hate them? No. I just go, wow, man.
So
that's really bad. Like, that's really far out there. But I don't say to them, you're a fucking dumbass. You know, I might talk to them and bring up an idea to them so they so they would like maybe think differently about it. But I don't tell them they're wrong. That's not how you have a good conversation with people. That's not going to be productive. It's never going to be productive if you do that shit. And if you're trying to convince somebody that what they're doing is really crazy, like, dude, you should like rethink this thing because that is not cool. You know, like somebody that's like says women are nothing and there's that alpha beta male thing and all that shit, you know, and I try to suggest things. So it plants an idea in their head to try to rethink it. And if they're not open for it, then I just leave it alone. I don't play that shit. I don't want anybody to fucking get mad at each other. I know theists and atheists and agnostics and pagans and blah, 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 all alike that I love and that I can't stand. And it doesn't, you know, I just don't put up with, I'm not doing that shit. I'm not playing into that. And I'm not going to give them another reason to hate everybody else in this community.
Can I chime in for a second and just say,
absolutely.
Like, for me, and you know, I guess I'm team God, you know, if there's a team. I don't think so. I don't view it that way. I don't think God fits in a box or, you know, I think humans are humans, right? Overall. But when I hear an atheist swing or maybe a pagan or some other religion swing, and there's like hard feelings, if it's a situation where Christianity historically has been abusing those folks, I completely am sympathetic. I completely, like, I really truly am. If it's a situation where it's like nanny, and that's not Oxa's situation, where it's like I have become an atheist and I'm now intellectually superior by default, I have a problem with that because I'm like, bitch, I read. Like, right. And then I start naming off. I've named off very like, you know, intellectual folks, great authors, people that are Christian humanists. Oh man, like secular side of things wants to own the word humanist, but guess what? Humanist doesn't require no religion. Shocker, I know. But like I would start naming off Christian humanists or authors or scientists, and I would get like, ba-ding, ba-ding, ba-ding. I think where my sympathy ends isn't for folks that like have like hurt with religion. My sympathy issue happens when I run into anti-theists that are particularly from Europe that grew up being atheists. They grew up being atheists, and they are the biggest firebrand assholes ever. That's when I get problems. I'm like, you grew up being an atheist, and you're running around going, I'm just more intellectually superior because I'm this. And that's where I get really frustrated. So I don't know how Nathaniel feels, but like I can kind of see a difference. And for me, that affects how I sometimes respond. But I've never really been too keen on firebrand atheism. I have a hard time with like the firebrand anti-theists. But I can understand feeling upset if you've been harmed by a certain group. I get it.
Oh, we lost Nathaniel. No. Oh no. Oh, he said, have a great night, folks. He didn't want to interrupt you. And then Maya said she had IRL stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of tired. I should probably go at some point, too.
Yeah, I'm pooped, too, honestly. I'm done.
And we're almost at 3 hours, so.
Yeah. I mean, that's usually where I end up. It's about 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I love having all you guys on. It's always a good conversation. So I want to say one more thing about that topic, and then we'll be done. And you guys can say your piece on it as well if you want. I don't believe in like a God up there somewhere, but I feel like there's lots of us that are connected. There's got to be some kind of reason for that. I don't know why. I don't know if it's like some kind of DNA thing. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know. There's something out there, and I don't know what the fuck it is. Some of us are connected. And when we meet, we're like Ben and I, we just instantly got along, buddies. We're good, you know, and understood each other. And that doesn't happen like with every single person you meet. And there's got to be some fucking reason for that shit. It's just like I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know. But I don't believe in necessarily like a God or anything. My thing is I don't know, so I can't have any kind of firm opinion in any direction besides what I do know. And what I do know is there's no proof of a God. Now, what the fuck it is, I don't know. That's what I know. I just don't believe that there's some fucking dude up in the sky watching us. I don't know. And I'm not saying that I don't think that there's might be other life out there. So of course there probably, we can't say we're the only ones in this huge, we're a little dot, nothing. We are nothing. The earth is tiny and nothing compared to it. You can't tell me there's not something out there. Now, it might not be intelligent life. It might be some amoebas on a goddamn planet, but I don't know. So I try not to go deep into that shit because I just don't know. And honestly, I don't care enough about hoping there is a God to investigate. Like, I'm just like, nope, I'm good. I'm just not into it.
It doesn't stress you out, worry you.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know. I'm not anywhere towards Christian, but I don't think I'm fully like an atheist. Maybe. I don't know. I just try to get along with everybody and try to make friends wherever I go. That's my goal. That's all I know. I like helping people. So it's my gig.
I believe in a God. I just don't think God fits in a box. And
well, no.
A lot of theology I've studied tries to shove him in a box. That makes sense. And you can maybe do a formal argument, defending this God in some way, but it doesn't seem to comport with the reality I see. And then if I look at the universe, there's so much that we don't understand. And if we believe that there's some sort of creator, not we as in you, but like God believers believe that there's some creator, to pretend like the mind of God, of this creator that's designed all these things or set things in motion, and I prefer set in motion things that exist that like we still don't understand, that we're still learning about. Like, I think it's ludicrous to say I know the mind of God and I can assume God like thinks this and feels this, and I just think it's stupid. Like I have moved to the point where I think that God doesn't fit in a box. I don't think God cares whether or not you believe in him or not, frankly. So whatever that is, I don't know.
Tomorrow night, by the way, everybody, I'm going on someone else's stream tomorrow night at
7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Right. So 8 p.m. my time. So 10 p.m. Eastern. And then I was just thinking if my brother's available and if you're up to have him come on afterwards for an open discussion.
I think I'd like to do that separate if that's okay, because I think the open.
Well, we can make it separate streams or whatever. It's just a suggestion anyways, if you're available, I just know you guys want to talk and he's interested in talking. He thinks that you're, great and would love to have a discussion with you. So.
I respect him. I think it would be good to be on a different day just because of how my brain works. And when I do, like if I go into one mode and then I flip, sometimes it doesn't go so well. So
touche. I get it. So yeah, We're all exhausted. I'm going to bed. I was up late last night. Bad shit. So I need to go to bed. Lots of work crap. Mañana. So everybody who is still up here, you two wonderful people, thank you so much for hanging out, and thanks for the good conversation. Everybody that's left in the chat, thank you so much. You know, I appreciate you guys always coming by and always giving me support. So I appreciate the love. So everybody, take care of yourselves, take care of one another, and have some peace in your life.